Our sponsors:
Diamond Sponsor, Galen Simcoe, Official Host Destination in Hải Phòng, khu du lịch quốc tế Đồi Rồng, Dragon Ocean Đồ Sơn, Official Transportation Sponsor, Omoda Entrico Việt Nam, Transportation Sponsor, Việt Travel, Host in Hạ Long, Beam Group,
Gold Sponsor, Sovico Group, Phú Long Corporation, HD Bank, Vicky Digital Bank, Official Airline Partner, Vietjet Air,
Hospitality Sponsor, Imperial Hotel Vũng Tàu, Strategic Technology Partner Official Voting Portal, Eventista, Media Sponsor, Tclon Media, Hospitality Sponsor in Hạ Long, Intercontinental Hạ Long Bay Resort, The Yacht Sponsor, Gathering Cruises, Hospitality Sponsor, Radisson Blue Hotel Hạ Long Bay, The Wilson Premium Hạ Long Hotel, Hospitality Sponsor in Nha Trang, Novotel Nha Trang, Ibala Hotel and Spa, khu du lịch suối khoáng nóng I Resort, Potic Hotel Nha Trang, Regalia Gold Hotel Nha Trang, Voco Senior Bay Nha Trang by HHG, Hyatt Regency Nha Trang, Boma Resort Nha Trang,
Iconic Hotel, Citadines Bayfront Nha Trang, The Morning Glow Handwritten Collection, Tui Blue Nha Trang,
Shopping and Entertainment Partner, Gold Coast Mall in Nha Trang, Hospitality Sponsor in Đà Nẵng, 4 Points by Sheraton Đà Nẵng, Hospitality Sponsor, La Chateau Hotel,
Special Energy Coffee Sponsor, Trung Nguyên Legend,
The Iconic Bag Sponsor, Delphip, Fashion Sponsor, Alice, Exclusive Olive Oil Partner, Olivola, Accompanying Sponsor, Sun House, Fashion Sponsor, Le Soleil, Kaylin, WFVN, We Are From Vietnam, Food Sponsor, Yuri Station, Drink Sponsor,
Yi He Tang,
Vietnamese Heritage Dining Partner, Cơm Niêu Thiên Lý, Accompanying Sponsor, Tây Nguyên Food Việt Nam,
Trường Cao đẳng Kỹ thuật Công nghệ Bách khoa CTech,
Service Sponsor, Vinex, Jewelries Accessory Sponsor, Aurori Jewelry,
Co-Sponsor, Bear Soil,
Media Sponsor, Unique OOH, Notch Group,
Hoa Mộc Media and Event,
Healthcare Sponsor, Sante Hospital, Fashion Sponsor, Duy Trần Couture, Jenny Brado,
Lavance,
Nhà thiết kế Thiên Cẩm, Đồng phục Hải Anh, Pili Fashion, Flower Sponsor, Chiến Flowers, Drink Sponsor, trà sữa ít béo từ hạt Mobeya,
Drink Sponsor, Yến Sao Khánh Hòa,
Accompanying Sponsor,
Shin Cà Phê,
Trendy Beauty, Official Glam Partner, Quân Nguyễn Poulet Academy, Service Sponsor, Lock and Lock, The New Kind of Soda Sponsor, Sela, Food Sponsor, Marina Beach Club Nha Trang, Tiệm Yến Nha Trang, Papasot, Cuckoo Buffet, Juices and Nutritious Cereal Sponsor, Legumes, Public Speaking and Communication Coach, The TV Face, Legal Advisory Support Unit, Công ty luật ATQ, Media Sponsor, Tower Hill Communications, Suzu Group, Thế Anh 28 Entertainment, Thế Giới Hoa hậu, Molly Group, Bamboo Creative, World Beauties, World Press, Backstage Showbiz, MZ News, Z Studio, Zalo Video, TikTok, Star Nation, Top Show,
Welcome to the 75th anniversary Miss World Finals, and today the head-to-head challenge. Now, our contestants have a very big task ahead of them. They will be speaking on subjects that mean the most to them. It can be their personal statements, it can be their beauty with a purpose. But what we're looking for here is their communication skill. How they present is as important as what they present. This is going to be down to a judging panel we will introduce later to decide. From this day, there will be 5 candidates moving forward from each continent to the head-to-head round, which is when we get involved in a debate. And in the debate, we will be explaining all of the rules and regulations for that in a couple of days' time when we reach that stage. But for now, we have some very nervous young people because this is a big moment for them. They have to stand in front of all of their peers and make their presentations. So wherever you are around the world, let's wish them all well. And we will introduce our first contestant in this year's head-to-head challenge, and she's from Albania.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to the wonderful organizers of the Miss World organization. Good morning to my incredible Miss World sisters. Well, I don't know if the microphone is okay. Is it okay? Yeah. While preparing for this, I couldn't help but feel very privileged to be able to represent my country and Albania, and to stand here in front of you all, giving you an insight in my life and in my purpose. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I was born in Tirana, in Albania, in a loving family that taught me the importance of education, hard work, and kindness. My parents showed me that the opportunities we are given in our life only make sense when we use it to give something back. Well, my life actually truly changed when I was 15 because I had to leave Albania and move to Italy together with my family. Leaving Albania meant leaving everything familiar, leaving my country, leaving my family, friends, language, and all my experiences. It was not easy, but it is this experience that actually shaped the woman who I am today. It taught me that you can belong in more than one place without forgetting or losing where you come from. It taught me to embrace other cultures. It taught me to connect with people despite the boundaries of language. And most importantly, it taught me that kindness speaks every language. It is actually this experience that also inspired me to start to teach German to little immigrants in Italy, in Bolzano, where I live. And actually, when I look at these children, which I'm truly missing right now, actually, I just look at my uncertainty that I once felt during that period of my life. And the uncertainty of, I don't know, maybe I was making something wrong, or I wouldn't be understood, or even if, did I belong or not? And I have to say, I just love teaching. Teaching gives me the possibility to put my knowledge into use and give it to other people, which for me is very important. And I truly also believe that a teacher has the ability to change someone's life. After that, my journey brought me to Austria, where I'm studying medicine. I'm in 4th year of my studies, and I also am a teaching assistant there. Well, medicine truly challenged me, but it taught me one of the most important things, which is to look at people and to truly understand them, not only as a diagnosis or as a patient, but as a human being, with feelings, family, a history, hopes, and fears. It is during my medical studies that I started learning about many preventable diseases like obesity and other metabolical diseases. And I also learned about the emotional and psychological impact that could have in the lives of people, especially children. And I started asking myself, what if the healthcare could actually begin before a person becomes a patient? And this question actually became the foundation of my Beauty with a Purpose project, which is Health Heroes.
If you can wrap up now, please.
Okay. Which is my Beauty with a Purpose project, Health Heroes. Sorry. Thank you. So, with this project, I aim through interactive workshops, which have to do with movement, nutrition, hygiene, and also mental health. I aim to teach children about healthy habits and give them the empowerment and the belief that they can truly change their own lives and they can become their own health heroes. My project until now has reached across 80 children across 4 schools in Albania. And to me, this is not only a number, because I truly believe that when you teach or when you educate a child, you don't only change one life, but you change an entire generation. Because this child goes home and gives their knowledge to their family and to their community. And I really think that this could change an entire generation. And we give the children when you give the children the belief that they can change their future, I think that you give them something that nothing can take away, which is the belief to build a better future for everyone.
Thank you. So thank you, Albania. That's very good. Let's put our hands together for Albania. Okay.
Can I just finish 2 sentences?
Please do.
Thank you. I aim, today I stand here very proud of where I come from and very grateful for every place that has shaped me and determined to use this platform for something bigger than myself. Because I truly believe that a beauty with a purpose is not only to be seen, but it is to use the visuality, the visibility, to actually help others to see what truly is meaningful. I believe that we could use the challenges to create empathy, our knowledge to create service, to do service, and our voices to create hope. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Albania. There we go. Just to say, ladies and gentlemen, obviously being the first speaker, a little leniency there. You can all see what's involved, but please understand that we have to put time limits on because communicating in a timely fashion is very important in the things you're facing in life, and we're looking for somebody who's able to do that, and it's a very special person that can. So thank you, Albania. Please now welcome Belgium.
Good morning, everybody. Imagine being a baby, born in a small country, Africa, and at only 1 month old, your father disappears from your life. You don't really understand because you're still a baby. Until one day a man comes, adopts you, gives you his name, raises you as his own, and at 14 years old, your mother sits you down and tells you that the man you have known as your father your entire life is actually not your biological father. That is the story of my life. I searched for many, many years until one day I took a DNA test. And I found a long-lost cousin that I didn't even know existed, and he put me in contact with my biological father. What I realized there is that science helped me restore my identity. And until that moment, I knew that science was going to be part of my future. I knew I wanted to use science to improve lives, potentially, hopefully, save some lives. That is also why I chose to study pharmaceutical sciences. I heard so many projects here talk about rare diseases, incurable diseases. Well, it is actually a very exciting time right now for science due to the rise of AI. We are growing exponentially in research and drug development for those. Now, while science shaped the path that I chose, my roots, on the other hand, shaped where I wanted that path to lead me. You see, I was born in Gabon, and I moved to Belgium when I was 5 years old. The cultural shock was quite hard, but I managed. You know, it was just a new way of living, another culture, but especially new languages. But I built my life in Belgium, and Belgium became my home. Belgium is my home. But my roots still remained part of my identity. Now, many years later, I found a way to bring those two aspects of my life together. When I was doing my scientific studies, I was in an internship in ophthalmology. I was quite interested in cataract operations. I was very impressed because I realized that in a 20-minute surgery, you could transform someone's life from blind to being able to see. And when I heard that so many children in Africa were born with cataracts, blind, were staying blind because they weren't given treatment, I felt a huge sense of injustice. And there, the whole picture was drawn, right? My African roots, my drive and my background in science, and especially my desire to use both in service for others. So I packed my bags and I went back to my roots. I went back to Africa, but this time in Tanzania. And nothing prepared me for what I saw. The next day of the surgeries, when those children were getting their eye patches off, they could see their parents for the first time. They could see colors, lights. They could see the world for the first time. And in that moment, I realized that I was not only giving sight back to people, I was giving them the opportunity for a new life. Because for them, being able to see means being able to go to school, being able to be independent, being able to build a life they actually dream of. I was born in Africa. I built my life in Belgium. I chose science and humanity. I once was searching for my identity, and today I want to give the opportunity to children to build an identity of their own. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Belgium. Thank you. Our next contestant is Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Hello, everyone, and greetings to the Miss World family. My name is Lana Jahic, and I'm coming from Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's the country that is known as a rich history, beautiful natural beauties, and also a really warm-hearted people. Beyond this title, I'm a medical student at high school in Tuzla in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And the next year, I will make a first steps on International Bruges University at medicine. So, after that, I am a professional Latin dancer for 13 years and also a trainer for kids. Also, someone who believes that with motion, art, and empathy that have a power to break any barrier. For me, dance is not just steps, trophies, sport, and that things. It's my way to understand the people. From the work as a coach with children, I started realizing that the dance and the steps are their way to make a confidence, that I'm so proud of it. And mixing Latin dances and my help children with special needs, that is actually my way how my project, Hands of Hope, was born. My journey, Beauty with a Purpose, is rooted in action. For the past 2 years, I have decided to give my time and working with the children with special needs through the project Hands of Hope in collaboration with organization Hrabro Srce in Tuzla in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So we don't just teach them how to dance, read, I don't know, basic things. We trying to teach them that they are important, involved, and loved. Beauty with a Purpose is not just a title that we hold for a month. It is a lifetime where are we putting our hearts into action. True beauty isn't something we just show the world physically. It is actually the positive impact and soul and the open heart that we show. Being here today is not just about representing my beautiful country, Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is actually about this platform to amplify the voices of those who need to be heard. I'm here to prove that with dedication, patience, empathy, open heart, we can make a real lasting change. And for the end, I will say my favorite title, join us and volunteer. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bosnia and Herzegovina. And there we are. Our next contestant is Bulgaria.
Hello, everybody. And first of all, I would say big thank you, because now I have the stage to say everything that I want to say, and I'm gonna be listening from you. Thank you for this. So, I'm a person who is taking a lot of risks, taking the flight, making the money, and I'm staying strong. I'm trying to live happily. And actually, the way that I'm doing it is by helping the people. I'm so happy that here I have the stage to make it not incognito, but in front of the whole world. Bulgaria is an amazing country with amazing people, but the problem in Bulgaria is that we don't trust the institutions. We trust the people who we become. And actually, I'm so proud that I can stay here in front of the whole world and to be behind a project that I'm sure it will be not only here, it's not just an idea, it will stay behind me. Behind this trait, actually there is a loss. I lost my father when I was very young, and everything that I'm doing, I'm questioning myself if he is proud of me. And I hope that this project will make him proud, also my mother, because they're the people who teach me of compassion and to take care not only for me, but for the people who are around me, for the environment. When I win the national pageant in Bulgaria, actually I had only 10 days before coming here. And actually the first thing that I was thinking about, it was what I will do, not what I will wear, not how I will look, but exactly what will be my beauty with purpose. Because I think that this is the most important, and I'm so happy that I can say mine and listen to yours. So I decide that there is a project behind me with my dentist. He is one of the biggest dentists in our country, and I'm so happy that he gives me a hand, he stands with me, and our project is Smile, a portal to the world. Because we're coming here, and all of us, we have our first contact by our eyes, by our smile. And that's actually the meaning of the smile. You don't need the language. Okay, English, it's not the native language to all of us, but you always know when there is a real smile in front of you. And actually the smile is something that can help you a lot in your darkest moments. In Bulgaria, 79% of the kids who are up to 5 years actually have problems with the teeth. And the idea behind the foundation is that we would like to make prevention, education, protection. There is a plan, and we follow the plan. Actually, I have a big help from the dentist and the clinic that I'm cooperating with, because he is in the Union of Bulgarian Dentists, and I know that we will be surrounded by many professionals, and it will grow big. Here I can speak, and I hope that somebody will be inspired from my idea, because every kid, every child deserves to smile. Every child deserves mental and body health, and actually a good smile is the thing that makes us confident, and it's the thing that makes us thinking in front of the world without saying anything. Thank you for this. Thank you for listening to me. I love you.
Thank you very much, Bulgaria. And I think we should all, as she leaves the stage, smile at Miss Bulgaria. Thank you. Our next contestant is Croatia.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so proud to represent my country, Croatia, here today. I come from a small country, but a country with so much to offer to the world. It's a great honor for me to stand here, to share my ideas with you, and to have a voice that I can use for something meaningful. Croatia is known for its beautiful coastline and the Adriatic Sea. For us, the sea is much more than just a beautiful view. It's a part of my country's identity, and it's a big part of our tourism and our economy. But Croatia is not the only country whose future depends on healthy seas and oceans. Water connects all of us, and pollution does not stop at national borders. This is why I created my Beauty with a Purpose project called A Blue Planet, A Purpose for Life. Through Blue Planet, I connect different people and different initiatives around one simple idea. We must remove the pollution that already exists, but at the same time prevent new pollution from being created. One of the biggest problems I focus on is something most people never even see or think about, and those are ghost nets. Ghost nets are abandoned fishing nets that are discarded and they remain in the sea after they're no longer being used. After they're discarded, they no longer have any economical value, but they continue trapping fish and other sea organisms. They can trap fish, sea turtles, dolphins, and they damage sensitive habitats if they get attached to the seabed or rocks. They can also slowly break down into microplastics, and they come back to us through the food chain. This problem cannot be solved just by one person. It requires fishermen, professional divers, environmental experts, volunteers, and institutions working all together. This is why an important part of my project is a Croatian initiative called Provir. Since 2023, the initiative and its partners have collected more than 120 tons of abandoned fishing nets from the seas. But the story does not end when the waste is removed. Suitable nylon can be regenerated into EcoNil, a regenerated nylon fiber that can later be used to make fashion garments, furniture, and for me, that's the real meaning of circular economy. Waste does not have to be the end of a product's life. It can become the beginning of something new. And in this case, in Croatia, the nylon fiber is used to make clothing garments and new fashion collections. I have actively participated in cleanup actions. I was also on a fishing boat helping to remove these nets from the sea. I supported the recovery process with partners, learned from the experts that are working in the field. And I used my platform to make a problem hidden below the surface visible to a wider audience. The second part of my project is prevention and education. As the ambassador of the Croatian initiative Za ljepšu našu, which would translate to a more beautiful Croatia, I use my platform to promote simple changes in everyday life, like reducing waste and making more responsible choices. These two initiatives have very different roles, but the same goal. And my project, Blue Planet, connects both of them. And I believe that this idea can go far beyond Croatia because the sea does not recognize borders, and the fishing net lost in one country can be carried by the currents into another country. The same is true for pollution, and this is why our solutions also have to cross borders. My goal is to continue this project after Miss World through more cleanup actions, through education, to stronger partnerships and cooperation with communities around the Adriatic and the Mediterranean. For me, Beauty with a Purpose is not about using a title for one moment. It's about using visibility to create a long-term impact. I'm proud that Croatia is known for its natural beauty, but I want the world to know us not only for the beauty we have, but also for the responsibility we take to protect it. We inherit our seas from the generations before us, but we are also responsible to what we leave for the generations after us. My dream is to travel the world, work hard, and to share ideas like this that can make a positive impact on the world. So my message today is really simple. Protect water, protect life, and protect our future.
Many thanks. Croatia, there we are. Thank you. Our next presentation is from Czech Republic.
Good morning to everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so proudly that I can stand here on the stage and represent our beautiful country, Czech Republic. Standing here tonight is one of the most emotional moments in my life. The story behind my project is not just a project. It's my heart, my family, and it's my truth. When I was a little girl, cancer was just a word. I never imagined that cancer would ever be part of my own story, my own family. But it happened, and we need to fight. At the beginning of 2024, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a time full of fear, full of tears, but it was also a time full of joy and smile. That time I entered into Czech Republic because of my mom, because she's my biggest supporter. She always trying to make me feel better. She's always trying to make me feel more powerful because, like I said, she's my best friend and she's my biggest supporter. Seeing her fight every single day taught me that when life gives you hard things, you need to be strong and you need to believe in yourself because this has taught me what true bravery truly means. Only 1 month later, my grandma told us the same thing. She was fighting the same disease. And to be honest, I was thinking that my life is going to end. My mom and also my grandma was my best friends, and I didn't realize that it can happen anything to them. Her body was so weak, but she's still trying to be strong for us. She's always trying to have a smile on her face because together with my family, we're taking care of her, held her hand, and tried to give her peace. At the end of the year, she passed away before my winning in Miss Czech Republic, but I know that she's here with me. Now she's really supporting me, and I think she's very proud of me. My mom is my biggest inspiration. Because of her, I learned that you can turn your pain into purpose. She taught me that even when life feels unfair, we still have the power to choose love, hope, and happiness. That's why I created my own foundation for women with breast cancer and their families, because I know how it feels when you want to help your loved ones, but you don't know how. With this project, I want to help women who are fighting this alone and remind them that they don't have to be alone on that. I want to speak about early dedication, about care, and about power of community and family. Cancer doesn't choose, it can touch anyone. Today, I stand here as a daughter, as a granddaughter, as a woman who turned her pain into a purpose. I carry my grandmother, my memories, my mother by my side, my angels, my strength, and my reason to believe in myself. Thank you for letting me to share my story, and like I always said, if I can help even one person feel seen, heard, and less alone, then my journey has already made a difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Czech Republic. And I think it's very poignant that yesterday you were all running in aid of breast cancer. Obviously, cancer devastates many lives, but to see you all doing what you were doing together to make a big difference in the world, you can see why you're doing it, and there's a great example of why we face these things together, and I hope everybody gives a big hug to Miss Czech Republic when they see her later. Our next contestant is from Denmark.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josephine, and I have the honor of representing Denmark. I come from a country where we value trust, equality, and caring for one another. These values have shaped the person I am today. A woman who believes that our success is not measured by what we achieve for ourselves, but how we choose to use our opportunities to make a difference for others. For as long as I can remember, I've always cared deeply for the people around me. I come from a big family, and they have always been my greatest support. They have taught me the importance of kindness, compassion, and always being there for one another. Another big part of my life has always been ballet. I started dancing when I was just 5 years old, and it taught me discipline, resilience, and dedication. It also taught me that every dream is possible if you are willing to work hard enough for it. Last year, my life unexpectedly changed. I was out for a run, and suddenly I collapsed. When I woke up, there were people surrounding me, helping me, until the ambulance came. I remember feeling confused. For my entire life, I've always lived an active lifestyle, and I've danced professionally for years. I never imagined that a short run would lead into one of my biggest turning points in life. As I came to the hospital, the doctors discovered that I was born with a heart condition, one that was never diagnosed correctly as a child. Suddenly, I found myself asking questions I never asked myself before. Not because I was afraid of dying, but because I didn't know what my future would look like. Would my life change? Would I still be able to follow my dreams? It took time to accept that some things were now different. But as I slowly came to terms with my own diagnosis, I found myself thinking less about myself and more about the children who never had the chance to grow up without a heart disease. Those children whose reality includes hospital visits, surgeries, and uncertainty from such a young age. That thought changed everything. It became my purpose. Today, I proudly serve on the board of the Children's Club within the Danish Heart Foundation. Here we help create meaningful experiences for children living with heart disease and their families. I also created my beautiful purpose, ballet and movement. Dance has always been my safe space, and it gave me confidence, joy, and a place where I could feel free. I want to give that same feeling to children living with heart disease, not because I want them to become ballet dancers, but because I want them to discover that they are so much more than their diagnosis. Recently, I met a girl living with a pacemaker. If you met her, you would never know everything she's already been through. She laughed, smiled, danced, and dreamed just like every other child. She reminded me that children should not be defined by their illness. They should be defined by their dreams. And I hope to help create that future. Miss World have given me something incredibly powerful, a platform. And I truly believe that a platform only has value if you choose to use it to make a difference for others. If I have the honor of becoming Miss World, I want to help continue to inspire, to advocate, and to remind children that their diagnosis does not define their future. I know that I can't change this entire world by myself, but if I can help just one child believe a little more in themselves, or help one family feel less alone, I know I've made a difference. Because to me, beauty with a purpose is not about changing a million lives overnight. It's about changing one life at a time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Denmark. Our next contestant is from England.
Good morning, everybody, fellow contestants, Mrs. Morley, and everyone watching at home. Today, I would like you to imagine that this glass of water is all the water we have on our planet. Just a small amount of that is fresh water, and a fraction of this is what is accessible to us and to animals. 97% of water is salt water, leaving just 3% is fresh water, most of it frozen in ice caps or hidden underground, meaning that we have less than 1% of water that we can actually access and use. We call our Earth the blue planet, and yet water scarcity is one of the most defining challenges of our future. Water, plastic, and fashion. 3 things that touch our lives every day, and yet, some way or another, we cannot live without. The rate we are consuming them is putting enormous pressure on our planet. Plastic, for example, is being found in our oceans and our rivers, and our appetite for fast fashion is increasing every day, leaving us with piles of unwanted clothing. That is why my project, Every Drop Counts, started. Because I believe that we should learn how to change, create small changes in our lives. I used to see plastic in the canals at home, and it would remind me of standing on a glacier in Iceland 5 years ago. The guide told me that it would completely disappear within my lifetime. So I started learning more about it and sharing what I had learned. I've taken that message into schools, youth initiatives. I've become an ambassador for the Veyu Foundation. I've petitioned for consumer awareness within the fashion industry, planted over 900 trees to support the floodplains in my area, and connected organizations to create sustainable period pads to keep girls in education. Now, Plastic Panic, a game I've created for children 7 years and older, because I believe sustainability should be taught before they can pick up our societal habits. I don't believe standing here is going to change all the environmental problems, but imagine if each of you could change just one thing and then inspire somebody else to do the same. Each action may feel like a drop, but those drops together can become an ocean. That is why every drop counts.
Thank you. Thank you, England. Our next contestant is from Finland.
Good morning, everyone. I have a quick question for you. What is justice? When I think about justice, I think something really simple. Every person deserves to be heard, protected, and treated equally. I am Kiia Huutonen, a 21-year-old international business student, buyer, and an ambassador for When Justice from Finland. And my core values are justice, equality, and kindness. Being Miss World Finland has given me the platform to turn those values into action. I already knew when I applied for Miss World Finland that this title would come with the responsibility to use my voice for something bigger than myself. After my crowning, I was introduced to When Justice and its founder, Roland Peralta. After meeting him personally and learning more about the charity work, and also serving as an ambassador has given me invaluable experience and helping prepare me for one of my biggest dreams, to one day lead my own international charity organization. The word WHEN in When Justice stands for Winning for Health and Earth Now. And it works to close the accountability gap, so the gap between harm done and justice served. They support important legal cases, amplify the voices of communities, and helps hold powerful decision makers accountable. One example that stayed with me was their support for Our Children's Trust, providing $30,000 grant to help young climate plaintiffs to appear before the Alaska Supreme Court. To me, justice is not only about winning a case. It's about giving people opportunity to be heard. I've always believed in taking action. I organized my first charity event when I was in middle school. It was with my friends, and we did a second-hand market for needy families during Christmas time. And my most recent one was right before Miss World. I organized an event in collaboration with When Justice and the Federation of Mother and Child Homes and Shelters in Finland to raise funds to support their work for justice and equality. We also had eye-opening conversations with professionals about domestic violence and how we can help the victims. Because real change doesn't always begin in a courtroom. Sometimes it can begin with one conversation, one person, and one decision to care. And we accomplished that in that very event, which I'm really proud of. I want to be remembered for what I did with my platform. Because the world doesn't need more people to simply see injustice. It needs more people who choose to do something about it. If not now, when? I think when is now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Finland. Our next contestant is France.
Hello everyone, my name is Pio, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you, Ms. Ford, to give us the opportunity to present our purpose. I'm a little bit talkative, so I'm gonna try to be fast. If I have to tell you about one person who deeply changed my life, I would tell you about my grandmother, Eliane. She was much more than a grandmother to me. She was like a mother. She helped raise me, she taught me values, and she was a true role model in my life. For 10 years, I watched her fight against 5 cancers. I was 17 years old when she passed away, and it was too soon. But before I lost her, she taught me a lesson that would become the heart of my purpose. I remember the moment when I would do her makeup before her medical appointments. I remember that she would smile, she was happy about that. And when she looked at herself in the mirror, something changed. For a few moments, she was no longer, She no longer saw the disease. She saw herself. Sometimes I would put little glitter in her eyes. But you know what? The most beautiful thing was not the glitter on her eyes. It was the sparkle she has in her eyes. Today, I understand that her smile did not come only from the makeup. It came knowing that she was not alone. I was there. I took care of her. I listened to her, and we shared a moment together. And that is when I understood something that I have stayed with me since the first time. Makeup was not the solution for my grandmother. Presence was. Because illness do not only affect the person who is sick, it touches families, confidence, relationships, everyday life, and something even the way a person sees herself. Cancer can change a woman's body, but it should never be allowed to take away who is she. This is where Reflection of Hope was born. Today, this cause goes far beyond my personal story. Around the world, millions of women are diagnosed with breast cancer. In France, 1 woman in 8 will develop breast cancer. But there is also hope. When detected early enough, breast cancer can be cured in around 9 out of 10 cases. So my message is simple. Prevent, detect, support. Prevent through education, detect early because early detection can save a life, and support because while medicine treats the body, we must also take care of the woman living through the disease. This is already what I do with Les Bonnes Fées. I take part in social beauty workshops, hospital visits, and initiatives supporting women affected by cancer. In 2025, our charity gala raised more than 228,000 euros to support these initiatives. And in Guadeloupe, I am also involved with the Les Foulées du Ruban Rose, a breast cancer awareness and fundraising event that is very close to my heart. In 2022, 1,000 people took part in this first edition. In 2025, more than 10,000. To me, that is more than a number. It's a proof that a personal story can become a collective movement, and that is exactly what I want to do with Reflection of Hope. I want to be very clear about something. My project is not simply doing someone makeup or hair. Beauty did not cure my grandmother, but it helped her to reconnect with herself, with the woman she had always been. But she's not just a passion.
Time.
Sorry, she is a woman, a mother, a daughter, a friend, a grandmother, herself. Reflection of Hope is about protecting the part of her. If I have the opportunity to become Miss World, I want to use this platform to take Reflection of Hope beyond France. But my ambition is not simply to make the project bigger. I want to make it replicable. I want to work with hospitals and organizations to develop a model that be adapted in different countries, bringing together prevention, emotional support, social care, and human connection. What started with my grandmother...
We have to... Time, please.
Sorry, can I just say something?
Okay, thank you.
I want to turn visibility into action. For me, becoming Miss World would not be the achievement. What I could accomplish with that opportunity would be the achievement. I know that I can never promise a woman that I can change her disease, but I can help her change the way she experienced her journey. And also, I would like to extend my deepest condolences to the president of Les Amazones Guadeloupe, the first association I joined when I was Miss Pasteur Miss Guadeloupe. And she passed away yesterday, so I have a message for her family and a message also for my family. I did that for you, for me, and for my grandmother.
Thank you, Miss France. We send our deepest condolences as well. Our next contestant is Germany.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, my esteemed judges. Before starting my speech today, I would like to start with a little story, particularly from when I was 5 years old. At the age of 5, I asked my mother to bleach my hair a bright blonde color. Not because I thought it would make me look pretty like a Barbie doll, simply because I wanted to look more German. I'm half German, half Japanese, and I was born in the United States. Growing up, the question I feared the most, it was never, what is your favorite school subject? It was never, what do you want to become when you grow up? It was the simple question, where are you from? Because I felt like I never had a home country. As a matter of fact, I felt like I lacked identity. And for a very long time, I thought this was only my problem. Until one day, I came across a statistic by the World Health Organization. 1 in 6 people struggle with the sense of belonging. Regardless of whether it is people with disabilities, homeless people, international students, we are all human, and we crave a sense of belonging. This is what started my journey with volunteering, as I wanted to discover more people who may be experiencing the same problem. I started volunteering at a homeless shelter when I was in middle school. Over 10 years volunteering at the shelter, I learned many stories. And I learned that beyond the label of homelessness, each and every one of these people, they have a story to share. They want to feel belonging. Now, I am the head of the Unity Initiative at the university I attend. And here, for the first time in my life, I learned that belonging, it can be intentionally created. We don't have to simply hope it exists. And this was the start of my Beauty with a Purpose project. But how can one woman like myself create belonging at scale? I am currently a master's student studying for my MBA at the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management, driven by my passion for entrepreneurship. But before this journey, I used to work for a company called Unilever. I worked for beautiful brands like Dove, the body wash brand, with beautiful purposes to uplift the self-confidence of young girls. And this told me, products, they can be more than body wash. They can carry purpose, stories, become cultural ambassadors. And this is exactly what I wanted to replicate through my Beauty with a Purpose project, Belonging Beyond Borders. Now I export German products to international audiences, paired with handwritten story cards to share culture, stories, create understanding, because this is exactly what connects to belonging, like I learned through my volunteering experience. But I also wanted to share the stories of others, which is why I started my Stories of Belonging platform as well. But my vision, it goes far beyond this. I want to go beyond Germany. Through the help of the Miss World platform, I want to expand my project way beyond Germany to all over the world. Today, I wish to hold the hands of my 5-year-old self and tell her that she was perfect the way she was. She never needed to change her hair. She never needed to change her appearance. And I hope that through my project, No child, as a matter of fact, no human, ever feels like they need to change themselves in order to belong. Not because borders disappear, not because politics change, but simply because they already know exactly how it feels like to belong. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Germany. As we go through and we meet everyone, it's interesting to see how varied your projects are, and how Beauty with a Purpose has developed into something that really does have such great personal value as well as shared value. So I think that in listening to all of the projects, I hope that you do get a sense of how, when Julia Morley began Beauty with a Purpose, that she wanted it to evolve with the people, the most important people, those that were having their own projects. And she wanted to see where you would take it. And it's developed so different. It's so different now to when it first began, but it's so relevant to where we are now. So we've moved the lectern forward because it just hopefully will pick up better with sound. And we'll introduce our next contestant, who is from Gibraltar.
There is one certainty in every human life. We will all experience loss. We will all experience grief. Yet despite being something that touches every family, every person, and every nation, it remains one of the world's most difficult conversations. Good morning, everyone. My name is Julia Horn, and I am proudly representing my home, Gibraltar. To Mrs. Julia Morley, distinguished judges, and my Miss World sisters, I am honored to be sharing something deeply personal, yet universal: grief. My first experience of grief came when I was just 14 years old, when I lost my grandmother to her long battle with cancer. I was told it was a circle of life, that our grandparents are meant to leave this world before us. And although this didn't help the pain, I learned to accept this and carry her memory with me. And this is what I thought I understood grief to be, until my younger sister Jessie was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer at just 17 years old, and my whole world came crashing down. Jessie wasn't just my sister, she was my best friend. We were inseparable. For 17 years of her life, I never knew a day that I didn't speak to her, that I wasn't beside her. And yet now I was being forced to imagine a lifetime where I didn't have her beside me. And this is where I met anticipatory grief. We often associate grief with what happens after somebody passes. They talk about the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. But I experienced many of those stages whilst Jessie was still alive. Denial, because how could someone so young be diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer? Anger, why her? Why my family? Bargaining, another treatment, another doctor, another chance. Depression, an overwhelming sadness for the fear that I may lose my future with her. But acceptance, how could I accept losing the only person I thought I would grow old with? And then Jessie passed at just 19 years old. For 2 years, I lived between a state of hope and fear, and now that fear I was anticipating became my reality. But then became another challenge: managing how society expects us to grieve. They tell us to stay strong, that time will heal, and that eventually we must move on. But the truth is, that is not how grief works. It is not linear, there is no timeline, there is no finish line. So perhaps there is another way we can look at grief. Grief is all the unexpressed love we have for that person with nowhere for it to go. And so healing should not be about getting rid of that grief, but it should be about finding somewhere for the love to go. And for me, I found that in purpose. And that is where my beauty with a purpose, turning pain into purpose, was born. Through Cancer Relief Gibraltar, a local organization which helped my family through some of its darkest moments, I have been able to spread awareness for cancer, for grief, help people through their grief journeys, and spread awareness for early detection. But I soon realized that purpose has no borders, and my Beauty with a Purpose project took me to Ghana, where I met a young boy named Selassie, and through the generosity of Gibraltar, we have been able to fund his medical journey and continue to do so. And that story basically has told me that purpose can travel much further than pain ever could. My Beauty with a Purpose is not about doing something extraordinary. Sometimes just getting through the day can be more than enough. It is about letting people know that there is no correct way to grieve. There is no timeline, there is no finish line, and there are definitely no 5 neat stages. Yesterday was Jessie's 24th birthday, and it marked the 5th year that I've had to spend without her beside me. And had you told me 5 years ago that I would be standing here on the Miss World stage, spreading her story and spreading awareness around grief and cancer, I would not have believed you. Because back then, I couldn't have imagined getting through one day without her, let alone 5 years. But my purpose and her story has taken me from a small family in Gibraltar to Ghana, and now here to the Miss World stage. I couldn't choose what happened to Jessie. I couldn't choose the grief that followed, but I could choose what I did with the love she left behind, and I chose purpose. Jessie will always be a part of my story, but my grief was not the ending of that story. It became the beginning of my purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Gibraltar. Our next contestant is Greece.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Mikaela Kasari. I'm 20 years old and I'm honored to represent my country, Greece. I was born and raised in Athens, a city where history and modern life exist together, where compassion has always united communities, and where hospitality is part of our identity. Alongside my journey in modeling, I study economics and sustainable development because I believe that the rate of development is not only measured by numbers, but in how we care for one another. People often ask me what Miss World means to me. For me, it is not only about wearing a crown. It's about carrying a responsibility, the responsibility to use my voice for those whose voices are often unheard. During my reign as Miss World Greece, life gave me a lesson that changed me forever. 3 months ago, I lost my lovely father, who was very close to my heart. I saw my lovely mother devote herself to his care with endless love, support, and kindness. She never asked for recognition. She simply chose love every single day. Through my parents, I discovered something I had never truly understood before. Behind every patient is someone fighting a silent battle, a caregiver. This person carries emotional, physical, and financial burdens while trying to remain strong for the person they love. That realization became my heart of my Beauty with a Purpose project, Courage to Care. I began working with the Greek non-profit organization Osilia, which provides free home-based palliative care to people living with cancer, neurological diseases, and other life-threatening illnesses. Visiting patients in their home makes me witness both vulnerability and incredible courage. I saw that dignity is not only found in medicine, but also in human connection, in how we care for others, and how we promote our love. In Greece, approximately 135,000 people need palliative care every year, yet only 2% receive it. This means that most of the people needs to face one of the most difficult moments in their lives without the care that they deserve. My commitment also extends to support the Hellenic Association of ELS, Motor Neuron Disease Patients, which I have participated in many campaigns. This experience and my parents and all my family taught me that kindness is never a small act. Kindness is beauty is not about appearance. I believe that beauty is holding the hand of someone, listen to their story, and to stay here for them. As Miss World Greece, I want to use this international platform to inspire people for palliative care, to support family caregivers, and to tell people that they are not alone and that we can change everything. So, beauty is choosing compassion when no one is watching. Beauty is the courage to care. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we have Hungary. Welcome, Hungary.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm welcoming all the beautiful contestants and the respected the judges, especially Mrs. Julia Morley. My name is Janka Végvári. I'm 18 years old, and it's an honor to be here and represent my beautiful country, Hungary. I want to start my speech with a beautiful sentence from my favorite book, The Little Prince. It is the only with the heart you can see rightly, because what is essential is invisible to the eye. I think it truly reflects who I am and why I started my project, Janka for Hope. I always been fascinated by history, and this is the reason why I decided to learn political science. Because history for me, it's not only dates and events, it's about people and stories. And also, during my project, I realized that how many beautiful people we all live together. And in today's fast-moving world, I started my project because my mom inspired me, and I want to thank my mom from here because she inspired me to do this project. My project is focusing on the elderly people because in our fast-pacing world, there are many elderly people who are left behind and they cannot give the enough attention they deserve. And I think all the people deserve to be heard, to be loved. I started my project ever I become Miss World Hungary because it was something completely important to me. Because to me, working with elderly people, it is something completely unbelievable thing. And during my project, I also had the great opportunity to work with UNICEF Hungary as well to support disadvantaged children. And also, I became an ambassador in a wheelchair beauty pageant. Beside doing this elderly people help and working in a nursing home. And my goal is to expand this whole project across Hungary because during my project and working on this project, I realized in Hungary how bad conditions are in these nursing homes, and I think they deserve to be mentioned more. And as a Hungarian girl, as I mentioned, I love history, and our history is remarkable, and so our history is remarkable, and during the centuries, we fell many times, but we were always able to manage to stand up. And no matter how deep in your life you are in right now, you always have to stand up, and you always have to see the light and follow your dreams. And as I mentioned, I'm only 18 years old, and of course I don't have all the answers, and I don't know who I am yet, and I don't know who I will become. But I know one thing, that who I want to be, or who I want to be, hope to be. I want to be a good person, a person that motivates others, and also to show the world that I am able to stand here and show them that they are worth and they deserve love and everything. And I want to finish my speech, another beautiful quote from my favorite book, The Little Prince, and it says, "What makes the desert beautiful is that somewhere it hides a well." Because I believe every person carries something valuable, and sometimes we only have to do is to look after it and see it in the good things. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Hungary. Our next contestant is Ireland.
Good morning, Miss World's team, distinguished judges, and Miss World's delegates. My name is Caoimhe Kenny, and I am so proud to stand before you today as Miss Ireland. This year, millions of girls around the world will miss school due to their period or lack of access to essential hygiene products. I myself have never missed out on my education due to the lack of access of hygiene products. Have you? If your answer is also no, then what a privilege that is. Access to hygiene products is an issue that I've always been passionate about, not based on personal experience, but because I believe that you do not need to live someone's struggle to stand with them. You just need the courage to show up, the heart to listen, and the will to act. I grew up surrounded by kindness. My parents, my neighbours, my community, people who showed me, simply by example, that we are all responsible for one another. From a young age, I realised I didn't want to just exist in this world. I wanted to create an impact. So I became a volunteer with a local homeless charity in my community called Save Our Homeless Dundalk. And it was through that work, through truly listening, that I discovered an issue quietly devastating thousands of families across Ireland. An issue hidden behind closed doors and silent shame: hygiene poverty. I want you to imagine something with me. You wake up in the morning, you go to the bathroom, you use your soap, your shampoo, you go to the sink and you brush your teeth with your toothbrush and your toothpaste, you put on your clean clothes that have been freshly washed, and you eat your breakfast from a clean plate. Simple, automatic, unremarkable. Now I want you to imagine this. You wake up in the morning, you go into your bathroom, there is no soap, there is no toothpaste, there is no toothbrush, there are no clean clothes, and there is no clean dishes for you to eat your breakfast from. How would you feel, and how would you feel walking out that door? And here's something I think about every day of this competition. I'm standing here amongst 110 other women. We're frequently referred to as beauty queens, but we know exactly what that means. The discipline, the early mornings, and the regimented routines it takes just to walk on stage looking and feeling like ourselves. We take it for granted. The clean clothes, the soap, and the beauty products, we assume that they are always going to be there. But for so many people, that simple ability to feel confident is so out of reach. And if we as title holders understand what it means to feel confident, then we also have a responsibility to understand what it means when someone cannot. We talk about poverty in terms of food and shelter, and rightly so, but when people are in financial crisis, one of the first things to go are hygiene products. And in that case, we're not just removing a product from a shelf, we are stripping people of their dignity. I refused to stay silent. So I became one of the first volunteers in my home county of County Louth with Hygiene Hub, establishing donation points in local pharmacies, providing an accessible and easy way for people in my community to give back. Because hygiene is not a luxury, hygiene is a basic human right. So from this belief, my Beauty with a Purpose project was born. Feel clean, safe, and seen. I wanted to bring confidence to classrooms all across Ireland, educating young people on hygiene poverty, opening honest conversations, and reducing the stigma associated with this issue. I wanted to create a safe space for students to learn and take action. And they have taken action. Students are organising hygiene drives, collecting donated items, and these items are going back to vulnerable children within the school that do not have access to these items. The drives have been collecting an average of 90 kg worth of donations, and teachers have agreed that this project is educating young people on hygiene poverty, making them more aware of the issue. It is reducing the stigma and building confidence within the classroom. This is what happens when we stop looking away. And through organising these drives, students are learning leadership skills, entrepreneurial spirit, and learning the life-changing value of giving back. We often wait for systems to change, for governments to act, and for someone else to solve the problem. But sometimes change doesn't always begin in Parliament. It begins in a classroom, in a pharmacy, or one person deciding that silence is no longer an option. I am proud to be Miss Ireland, but more than any crown, I am proud of the communities I've stood beside, the children I've sat with, and the conversations that have shifted mindsets and moved people to act. I believe with everything that I am, that hygiene is dignity, dignity is confidence, and confidence is opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Ireland. Now, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, we just wanted to refresh with batteries, etc. We're going to have a 10-minute break, and then we will continue with this group until this group ends. There's another 16 to go, so we're sort of just over halfway. So we thought we'd now, if you want to use the bathrooms whilst we do a refresh, then we will be back exactly in 10 minutes' time. Welcome to our viewers around the world to the next part of the head-to-head challenge, and our next contestant to speak will be Italy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lucrezia Mangilli, Miss World Italy 2024, and I proudly represent my country at Miss World 2026 in Vietnam. Today, I am here not only as a beauty queen, but as a young woman with a story, a battle, and a purpose. Because last year, my life suddenly changed. I was diagnosed with a rare cancer, and in one instant, my world collapsed. And I believe that fate gives meaning to our pain, and I found the strength to transform my pain into a mission, into purpose. Because after my recovery, I was chosen as an ambassador of My Body is a Temple campaign, an international awareness campaign against gender-based violence. And this campaign wants to educate, but respect for ourselves, our body, and for others. And this year, together with the women leading this project, I flew to Mexico, and there was signed an official partnership between Italian Foundation, My Body is a Temple by La Stella di Daniele Onlus, and the Mexican Foundation, Unidas por un Sueño. This foundation helped women victims of violence start again, offering them a job, a work, an independence. Through handmade clothes, these women transform their pain into purpose. And for me, this is the most important symbol of female empowerment, because I truly believe that when women support women, they become unstoppable. And our journey began at the Chamber of Deputies, Mexico, and there I listened women with painful stories. After we went to the Italian embassy, and there I spoke about the meaning of beauty with a purpose. And I also received an important award that I carry forever in my heart. After we went to the Mexican Senate, and there we spoke about the urgent issue of gender-based violence. It is a global problem that affects both Mexico and Italy, different countries, but with the same struggle. And for me, the most important and most emotional moment was meeting children in a Mexican school with a very difficult background, very painful stories. And when I listened to them, I was deeply moved. And I spoke also with them about respect, consent, and as a student of science and multimedia technologies, also with the correct use of social media. And I think that the first form of prevention is education, because the young people of today will be the adults of tomorrow. And in my own small way, I want to be a voice of positive values, because I think that now we are living a very difficult time. Too many young women are victims of violence. Too many young people grow up surrounded by anger and fear. And we all need to speak up about this problem. And I also think that big changes come from many small actions. And I want to be one of them. And also, this campaign does not stop here, because I am so proud that starting from October, we will bring this campaign into my region, Friuli Venezia Giulia. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Italy. Now, a very warm welcome to Kosovo.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Blairy Sufi, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to stand before you today and share my story. When we speak about war, we often speak about the lives that were lost, but we don't speak enough about the people that survived and the invisible wounds they were left to carry. I stand before you representing Kosovo, one of Europe's youngest countries, born from generations of resilience, sacrifice, and an unwavering hope for freedom. In the late 1990s, Kosovo endured a devastating war. Families were displaced, homes were destroyed, loved ones were lost. And when the war ended, an entire generation was asked to rebuild. They rebuilt their home, they rebuilt their families, they rebuilt a country. But there was one thing we rarely spoke about rebuilding: the mind. For many, there was no language for trauma, there was survival. You worked, you provided, and you kept going. And you were called strong. But I have come to understand that sometimes what we call strength is simply pain that was never given permission to speak. Surviving is not always the same as healing. I am part of the generation that came after. Raised in the United States as the oldest daughter of immigrant parents, I learned to work hard, to be grateful, to keep going. But like so many people, I learned how to say, I'm fine, before I learned how to say, I'm hurting. At 14, I entered the modeling industry. Before I fully understand who I was, I entered a world where my face, my body, everything was judged. Everything could feel open to judgment. Later, when I lost my grandmother, someone deeply important to me, I responded the way I had learned to respond to difficult things. I smiled, I worked, I carried it, until I realized silence can look like strength while quietly becoming suffering. And that realization became the foundation of my beauty with a purpose, Mandora. The name reflects my identity between two worlds. In Albanian, which is the official language spoken in Kosovo, men connects to the mind and thought, whereas in English, men evokes to healing. Together they carry the message at the heart of my purpose. It is time to heal. It is time to mend the mind. Mandora uses something that has been part of my life for as long as I can remember, art. Because pain does not always arrive with words. Give someone a canvas, a pencil, a camera, music, movement. A blank canvas does not judge you. A pencil does not tell you to be strong. Art gives our emotions somewhere to go. And sometimes expression is where healing begins. But Mandora is about something even bigger, changing how we understand mental health itself. You do not need to experience depression to care about mental health. You do not need to survive trauma to advocate for someone who has. And you should not have to reach a breaking point before deciding that your mind deserves care, because mental health is health. Every person in this room has mental health. And suffering doesn't always look like suffering. Sometimes it looks like success. Sometimes it looks like beauty. Sometimes it looks like the strongest person in the room. Maybe that person has even been you. Through Mandora, my vision is to create art-based workshops, community conversations, and partnerships between artists and mental health professionals, beginning with Kosovar communities and growing beyond them. I want the next generation to understand you can be strong and still need support. You can be grateful and still struggle. And asking for help does not make you weak, it makes you human. Because although my story begins with Kosovo, this purpose does not belong to one country. Pain has no nationality. Grief speaks every language. And mental health does not discriminate. For years, beauty was part of my profession. I was photographed, measured, judged, and expected to present the most polished version of myself. But standing here at Miss World, I understand beauty differently. Beauty may capture someone's attention, but purpose can change someone's life. If beauty opens a door, let purpose be the reason we walk through it. And the world is willing to look at us, let us give them something worth seeing. Let them see compassion. Let them see silence become conversation. Let them see pain become purpose. Because the most beautiful thing we can do is not simply be seen, it is to make someone else feel seen. Kosovo taught me resilience. America taught me possibility. Modeling taught me about pressure. Loss taught me about grief. And art taught me that even when worlds fail us, expression can begin to heal us.
Time.
I cannot rewrite what previous generations endured, but we can decide what we pass forward. That is my purpose. That is Mandora. And whether you come from Kosovo or anywhere else in the world, the message belongs to all of us. It is time to mend the mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Kosovo. And now we welcome Malta.
Morning, everyone. First and foremost, to my Miss World sisters. Watching all of you dedicate your lives to serving others has truly been one of the honors of mine. To our distinguished guests, honored judges, and to our Julia Morley, I want to thank you for believing in the vision that has transformed lives across the world. It is proof that kindness is not simply about what we do. It is about our actions, the way we speak, and the way we give hope to others. Beauty with a purpose is not simply a slogan, it is a movement. I first started my journey volunteering 6 years ago in a domestic violence shelter. I remember meeting so many women who have gone through the most unspeakable experiences in their lives. I met this particular woman who had just came from Somalia, who was searching for a better life in Malta. She was pregnant 7 months, and she was severely abused by her husband. She had no money, she had no family, no love, and no support. I wanted to help this incredible woman. At the time, I was 17 years old, and I wanted to do more. So I started to raise funds for her, to buy her strollers, her clothing, food, anything she needed for her and her unborn child. Although this was a small act of kindness, it truly transformed my life. I wanted to do more. That is why I chose to study in the field of social work. I wanted to understand how social work systems work, not only in Malta, but across the world. So I was able to make changes within the system. Growing up, I learned that the greatest measure of wealth is never what we give. It is what we do. That belief has led me to create Light the Way. For over 2.5 years, I have walked alongside men, women, and children experiencing homelessness, offering food, shelter, safety, security, and emotional support. I learned that behind every individual who is sleeping on the street is not a statistic. It's a name, it is a dream, it is a family, and it is a story. One day, I sat beside a woman who was homeless and abused all her life. She was asking me why she should go on. What is there left for her life that offered her nothing but devastation and sorrow? Nothing could have prepared me for such a conversation. There was no perfect answer. There was no, and I wasn't really searching for one because there was nothing truly I could do at that moment. But I simply stayed. I listened and I understood. I made a promise to her that I was going to go through this journey with her, to offer support, love, and a sense of family. Sometimes hope begins when someone finally feels seen. Working in this field, both as a professional, as a social support worker in a homeless shelter, and volunteering through my project Light the Way, I have been forever changed. I wanted to remind everyone that homelessness is not just what we see from the outside. It is the loss of dignity. It is the loss of opportunity, of belonging, and perhaps most devastatingly, of hope. I believe that every single person, irrespective of their race, where they come from, whom they choose to love, their religious background, all deserve someone in their lives to love them and support them. One conversation can change a life. One act of compassion can restore someone's faith. And one person choosing to care can create a ripple effect that is far beyond our wildest imagination. Today, I stand here not simply as Miss World Malta, but as a voice to homeless individuals across the world. as a voice of a nation that has taught me compassion, resilience, and that taught me that even the smallest countries can make the most beautiful impact.
Time.
True beauty has never been about the crowns we wear. It is about the hearts we choose to hold, the love we choose to give, and the legacy we choose to leave behind. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kosovo. So it's Montenegro next, I believe. There we are.
Good morning, ladies. Respected kids, my fellow contestants, and everyone watching us around the world. My name is Masha Vukicevic, and it's an honor to stand here today representing Montenegro, where family, togetherness, and caring for one another are values we carry from one generation to the next. If you had asked me as a little girl what I wanted to become, I would have told you a doctor. I was a very shy child. I was not the one who always raised her hand first or spoke the loudest. But I was observant. I noticed people's emotions. I noticed when someone was hurting and even they did not say it. And perhaps most importantly, I always wanted to help. After primary school, I chose to attend a medical high school because I believed that medicine would be a way of serving people. But life has a beautiful habit of changing our plans. As I grew older, I discovered that not every wound can be seen and not every pain can be treated with medicine. Sometimes a person needs most is someone who will simply. The realization led me to another path in medicine, psychology. Today, I study psychology because I believe that understanding a person's mind, emotions, and experience can be just as important as treating the body. And when I look back, I realized that perhaps my path was never really changing. The destination was always the same, helping. My family has been at the center of that journey. I was raised to believe that we are never truly strong alone. Our strength comes from people who stand beside us, from the hand that hold us when life becomes difficult, and from the home where we learn our first lesson about love, respect, and compassion. For me, family is not simply the people we are born into. Family is the place where we learn how to care for another human being, and I believe that in today's world, where we are more connected digitally than ever before, we sometimes need to remind ourselves how important it is to be connected humanly. To sit at the same table, to listen to our grandparents, to ask our parents how they truly feel, to put our phones down and look into the eyes of the people we love. Because sometimes the most powerful act of kindness is not something extraordinary. Sometimes it is simply being there. There is another lesson that has guided me throughout my life. I learned from my father. He always told me, the smartest, the best, the strongest, and the most beautiful do not exist. Just be yourself. As a child, I heard those words. Today, I understand them. Because I have learned that life is not a competition to prove that we are better than someone else. It is an opportunity to discover who we are, to grow, and to use what we have to make someone else's life a little better. And that belief is at the heart of my Beauty with Purpose project, Open Heart, Open Minds. My project focuses on mental health, especially in the first edition at older ages, because I believe that growing older should never mean becoming invisible. We often celebrate youth, beginnings, achievements, but very older person carries a lifetime of stories, sacrifices, memories, and wisdom. They built families, they raised generations, they gave us so much of themselves. And now it is our responsibility to make sure they know that they are still seen, heard, valued, and loved. I want my project to open conversations about mental health, to break the stigma around asking for help, and most importantly, to bring people closer together. Because I believe that a stronger society begins with a stronger human connections. And perhaps that is the message I want to share with the world today. We may come from different countries, we may speak different languages, but we all share the same humanity, our hopes, our fears, our dreams. My journey has changed many times. The little girl who dreamed of becoming a doctor became a psychology student. The shy girl once struggled to find her voice is now staying on international stage. But one thing has never changed, my desire to help. Today, I stand here not as only Masha Vukicevic or as Miss World Montenegro. I stand here as a daughter, student, a sister, and a woman who believes in family, compassion, community, and power of making someone less feel alone. Because beauty may open a door, but purpose helps us walk through it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Montenegro. Now welcome Netherlands.
Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. My name is Charlotte Boonstra, and I proudly represent the Netherlands. I studied physics because I wanted to know how the world works. I studied behavioral psychology because I wanted to know what drives people and motivates them to make a lasting change. I use this in my work as a software developer, author, and entrepreneur to make a positive impact. I'm driven by 3 core values: connection, awareness, and autonomy. Because if people feel connected, they become aware. If you're aware, you're able to make informed decisions. When you have autonomy, you have the power to make lasting change. That's why these core values form the roots of my Beauty with a Purpose project, Planted Forward. Planted Forward is a platform where we grow a better future. I like to see it as a growing tree. The bark are the Sustainable Development Goals set by the United Nations. I use them as a framework in all the projects that I do. All the branches of the tree represent projects that have touched me in a way in my life. When I was 6, I became a vegetarian. Not because someone told me to, but because it was my first conscious choice. I really loved animals, and I didn't get why we viewed some of them differently. That's why I created the Vegan Starter Kit. It's a book to help make plant-based foods and plant-based eating more accessible to the public, to show that it can be enjoyable as well as healthy. I also created tasting events where people could taste vegan foods. When I was 12, I lost my mother to cancer. And that's why I co-created Nobody Understands Me with Cancer Support Netherlands. We created a community for teens who have been through the same thing. Do not feel alone. And sometimes that's to talk, and sometimes it's just being together and being there. I also created Daily Impact. It's a free app you can download in the App Store that's connected to the Sustainable Development Goals. You can do a daily action that positively contributes to one of the goals. Ultimately, I want to build things that outlast me. Systems and tools that are not dependent on me to grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So we move from Netherlands to two Northerns. North Macedonia is our next contestant.
Hello everyone. Eva Veličkovska, and I'm coming from North Macedonia.
Can we just hold on a moment? Can we just check the back? Can we just check the mic? Sorry, just one moment. Can we just do a quick mic check? And if not, leave a handheld mic. I apologise for that. Fortunately, you don't have to do a dance or anything just to cover for us. We'll just see if we can sort that out for you. There we are. No, I just want to just check the mic, please. And obviously get it closer. I'm just going to check it for you. Can you just lift it up a little? Sorry, I thought somebody would be up there to help you.
Hello. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Let's introduce you again. North Macedonia.
Hello everyone. My name is Eva Veličkovska, and I'm coming from North Macedonia. I'm proudly representing my country. Today, I'm going to talk about something that is so much bigger than just crown, competition, and a title. I'm going to talk about children with cancer. Behind every diagnosis, there's a child who has dreams, compassion, a child who wants to go outside and play with their friends, and a child who just wants to have a childhood. But in just one moment, everything could be taken away from them by cancer. Instead of living their life how everyone lives it, they're worrying and stressing about hospital rooms and doctors. They're counting the days in the hospital rooms, and they're stressing about their treatment. And I believe that one of the most important things is to speak for them and remind them that they are more than their illness. They're not a diagnosis, and they're not a number. They're children with hopes and dreams. And while the doctors do everything in their power to save them, us, the society, have the voice and the power to make sure these children never feel forgotten. We often think that by donating a large amount of money, we're helping them. Yes, we are, but simply with one gift, smile, and a visit, we're doing so much for them, and they will remember us forever. These things may seem small to us, but to a child going through the most difficult part of their life, that's everything. And this is why I believe in a beauty with a purpose. So important. For me, being a part of Miss World is not only about representing beauty, it's about having a voice and knowing how to use it. A crown means visibility, and it matters how we choose to use that visibility. If there are a million people watching us and hearing us, then we should speak about children who do not have the voices and strength to speak about themselves. There are also their parents and their siblings who are fighting alongside them, spending sleepless nights in the hospital rooms next to them, not leaving them for a second. Parents have to be strong when they are frightened. Brothers and sisters may not fully understand what's happening, and the children themselves all of the time feel scared and tired. This is why support must go beyond medicine. As a psychology student, my university has taught me a lot of things. It has taught me that it's important to have the emotional support from us. And one day, I want to help the organization that are helping the children and the families in these needs. Also, we should not look at these children with pity and just pity and sadness. We should all know how strong they are, and they teach us something that many adults forget: how precious an ordinary day can be. I want to live in a world where a child with cancer is not just defined by their illnesses, but remember for who they are: a future lawyer, a future doctor, and a future parent. And if I have the chance and honor to represent Miss World, I want to spread awareness, encourage compassion, and support organizations who help families in need and children. And most importantly, to remind the people that one small act can make someone's world much better. I want every child fighting cancer to know you're not alone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, North Macedonia. And our next contestant is Northern Ireland.
Good morning, everyone. Could I ask you all to close your eyes for just a few seconds? It's dark when you cannot see, but it is silent when you suffer from hearing loss. Imagine if your ability to hear was suddenly taken from you, today without warning. Worse, alongside that came a noise coming from inside your head every second of every day and night. That is tinnitus. For 750 million people around the world, that noise never stops. And there is no cure. One person in every 25,000 people worldwide are diagnosed each year with an acoustic neuroma, which causes deafness and tinnitus. My Beauty with a Purpose project is dedicated to raising awareness of acoustic neuromas. This cause is deeply personal to me because it happened to my mum. A professor of medicine, an OBE, an extremely fit woman in her 40s. Her symptoms were attributed to stress and workload, as they often are in high-achieving people, like many of you here today, while the tumour was silently growing inside of her head. By the time it was discovered, she required an 8-hour, invasive, high-risk surgery. Early recognition matters. Through my Beauty with a Purpose project, I have raised over £26,000 to purchase specialised equipment for hospitals across Northern Ireland. I have also used social media and a video to share the early signs with people globally. My project cannot undo what happened to my mum, but it can help prevent others from experiencing the same devastation. With the Miss World Global platform, I will turn my experience into worldwide awareness. Because recognizing one quiet symptom could protect someone's hearing,
preserve their future, and perhaps even save their life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Northern Ireland. We're going to move further east now as we welcome Poland.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Molly, judges, delegates from and everyone at home.
Sorry, sorry, just one moment. Just again, can you just lift the mic so towards yourself? That's better. And you
Can you
just
hear
need
me
to
now?
speak. That's perfect. Wonderful.
Perfect.
So we'll give you another round of applause. Poland.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Morley, esteemed judges, delegates from all around the world, my sisters, and everyone watching at home. My name is Maya Todd, and I am extremely proud to be representing Poland on this stage today. I studied global business, and alongside that, my greatest passion is music. Singing has always taught me that a voice is something to be shared with the people in the world that do not have a voice and do not have a platform to be heard. That, to me, is the true meaning of beauty with a purpose, and exactly why I am standing on this stage today. I think we often forget to do that. We grow up, chase our own dreams, build our lives and our homes, and forget to give back to the people who made that happen. Like this. I think we often forget to do that. We grow up, we chase our own dreams, build our own lives, and we forget to give back to the people who built that future for us. We owe them more than just a passing thank you. We owe them our time and our presence. For me, that realization started with the people who taught me how to love, how to walk, how to live. Those people are my grandparents. They gave me everything without ever asking for anything in return. They taught me who I am without complaint, but when I grew older, I realized how much weaker they had become. And that moment didn't just move me, it built something in me. A conviction that growing older should never mean growing smaller. Across Europe, we are living through something historic. Our populations are aging faster than ever before in history. This should be a triumph. People are living longer than ever before, but instead it is something much sadder because as we age, the world tells us to slow down and to take up less space in the world. And I refuse to accept that. And that is why I created Moving with Maya. We worked with people one at a time, building strength safely and building independence through exercises and movements that had the aim of improving the quality and the length of a life. These workshops not only did that, but also brought people together and bridged generational boundaries. I wanted to create a space where age is a bridge rather than a boundary. We also had the privilege of working with people with disabilities who are often told what they can't do rather than what they still can. But what surprised me the most is when I managed to talk to all the people that I worked with, what they remembered and valued the most wasn't the exercises themselves or the fact that they felt more flexible or more able. It was the connections that they made in my sessions of Moving with Maya. And that was extremely valuable for me. These people had a place to come to make new friends, to really grow in their independence, and I feel that's what the real purpose behind Moving with Maya is. Because I believe that when we hand someone back their sense of purpose, we give them something just as vital as their strength. So, Moving with Maya became about two things at once. Growing that independence, restoring movement, but also building connections and combating loneliness, an issue that we often forget exists. Because my grandparents deserve someone to come back and say to them, you still can, and you still matter. And I believe all the people around the world who have been underestimated deserve the same. This is why I stand before you here today. As a granddaughter, finally giving back to the people that made her, and as an advocate for all the people around the world who quietly have been taught to disappear. That is not a slogan to me, that is my purpose. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And well done, Poland. Now overcoming the microphone as well. Thank you for doing that. Our next contestant is from Portugal.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Miss World Committee, ladies and gentlemen, and my new friends. I am Vittoria Babinetti, and it's an honor to be standing here before you as a former athlete, as a gymnastics coach, a science of communication student, and as Miss World Portugal 2026. This story started long before any crowns, any sashes, or any stages. The story started when I started doing gymnastics and sports, because it has always been my life. As a former athlete, I experienced exactly how sports can change a person, and how sports can change someone's life. It gave me strength, it gave me discipline, but above all, it gave me something that I feel like every person searches for their entire lives. It gave me a sense of belonging. And with that feeling, at 18 years old, I decided to take a step forward, and I became a gymnastics coach. So I stopped being an athlete. And being on that side of the mat, so I was not competing anymore, I was teaching. It changed completely my life. It changed all my vision about the world, because I realized something very important, and that I believe that I will carry for the rest of my life, that gymnastics and sports should not be a privilege, and it should be a right. Today, I am 22 years old, and I realized that all of this started when I was really young, and when I was a kid, when I wanted to teach, when I was in another room, and I was observing, when I was trying to learn something from other people's experience, and when all their histories would pass through my hands. And this conviction deepened even more when I had the honor and when I had the opportunity to give classes and to have classes with kids from diverse backgrounds, including autistic youth, individuals with intellectual disabilities, and unprivileged kids with a profound passion for sports. And in this experience, eye to eye and hand to head, I understood something that a book could never teach me. I understood that movement has the power to connect people. Movement has the power to include and to improve and to make people feel better about themselves. I saw that in that space, in that sports space, I saw smiles being born where once isolation lived. I saw So with all of this combination of me being a coach and of me being a gymnastics athlete, I decided to create a project, Active Hearts Portugal, that was born from a very simple sentence, which is sports for everybody. So despite your age, your condition, or your background, everyone is welcome in this community, and everyone can experience the sport and this opportunity. Because here, every exercise is adapted, and every mat has no differences. And with this story, what I want to tell you is that I believe that beauty is not just about what we see, it's about how we lift each other's up. Beauty is about looking at the person that is next to you and telling them, you can do it, you are capable of it, and you will do your best no matter what. And another message that I also want to leave here is that for you to make changes, it doesn't matter what age you are, you just need to start acting towards it. And as well, I believe that everyone deserves to have an opportunity. Because if we are capable of giving that opportunity to someone, then we should. So let's make our hearts beat stronger, and let's make our hearts beat together. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. And now we move to Scotland.
Good morning, Mrs. Morley, contestants, everybody watching. When you hear the word hospice, what do you think of? For me, it was death. It was sadness, illness, and it was end-of-life care. But I was so wrong. Because over the last year, working with St Andrew's Hospice and Kilbride Hospice, they have completely changed the way that I've thought about hospice care. I've realised hospice isn't just about helping someone in their life, at the end of their life. It's about helping them live it. And the biggest thing this journey has taught me is the connection with people. I love people. Anyone who knows me will tell you that. I love sitting with someone, sitting down and hearing their story and the person behind it. And through my Beauty with a Purpose, I've had the opportunity to meet some incredible people. One of them is Olivia. Olivia lost her daughter at just 32 years of age. I can't imagine what that must have felt like, losing your daughter. But Olivia shared something that really, really stayed with me. Her daughter was having a particularly difficult day, and the nurses immediately went to the shop and bought a pair of eyelashes. False eyelashes, nothing crazy, but it wasn't just the product. It was the feeling that it gave her back. It gave her a sense of normality. It made her remember who she was, and it made her feel beautiful again. And that is what hospice is about. It's about seeing the person and not just the illness. And what makes Olivia's story even more special is the fact that she, after all these years, still volunteers as a receptionist at the hospice. And then there's my friend Bruce. Bruce actually helped me create my Miss World videos. And he shared the story with his mum at St Andrew's Hospice. Christmas was her favourite time of the year. And when the hospice staff realised that she may not make it to Christmas, they brought it forward to June. Imagine getting one more Christmas with your mum, one more opportunity to sit together, and one more memory. And that is what the hospice gave them. Not more time, but more life within that time. And I think that that is such a special thing that they have managed to do. And then there were the ladies that I met at the St Andrew's Hospice afternoon tea. They came together because they met through the hospice and had become great friends. And honestly, if you walked into that room and didn't know it was a hospice event, you would never have guessed. There was laughter, cake, stories, and even a bit of gossip. And there was so much friendship. I remember looking around that room and thinking, this is what hospice care and community is all about. It's not just about the hard days, it's about making people smile on those hard days. Because that is what Beauty with a Purpose has taught me. It's not always about doing something huge. Sometimes it's simply sitting next to somebody and listening to their stories. This year, I've raised thousands for St Andrew's Hospice and Kilbride Hospice. including over £6,000 for my very own charity lunch. And I am incredibly proud of that. But when I look back on my Beauty with a Purpose, I don't think I will remember the number. I think I will remember Olivia and her daughter, Bruce and his mum. I will remember all those women laughing over tea, because these people, the volunteers and the staff, have taught me something. Hospice care isn't just about death. It's about celebrating life. It's about making someone laugh when they thought that they couldn't do that anymore. It's about giving families one more Christmas. And it's about helping somebody feel beautiful when they're at their most vulnerable. I came into this journey thinking my Beauty with a Purpose would be all about raising money. Now I know it's about so much more. It's about showing up. It's about listening. It's about using whatever platform you have to make somebody's life different. Even just for one afternoon, we can make their life brighter. And I will carry this on and will be organising more charity events upon returning back to Scotland. And if I can continue to do that using my Miss World platform, then I know I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scotland. There's 6 left in this group before we take a lunch break. Following Scotland, we now have Serbia.
Hello everyone, it's a great pleasure to be here. My name is Simona Manojlović and I am representing Serbia. Okay, my humanitarian project is called Family and Strength, and it is focused on the prevention of addiction, because I believe that prevention starts long before a problem appears. It starts at home. It starts with a hug, with a love, and with a simple talk. It starts with a conversation. It starts when a child knows, wow, I'm loved, I'm safe. Someone really listened to me. So that I believe that family has a very important role how to protecting young people for invention. So I speak about, that's a very important topic on the TV, media, social media. And my goal is simple, conversation. Because that one honest conversation can make a big difference in our life. As a part of my project, I also organize panel, Family in Strength, where psychologists, psychotherapists, and other experts share their knowledge and experience to young people and their parents. So I believe that, So I believe that really family in strength. Thank you.
Thank you, Serbia. And please welcome Slovenia.
Hello, everyone. Special hello to the Miss World organization, to Miss Julia Morley, and to my fellow contestants. My name is Amadea Zupan, and I'm a medical doctor, but also a passionate contemporary dancer. Medicine has taught me so much: compassion, knowledge, and prevention, while dance taught me discipline, resilience, and connection. As Miss Slovenia, I believe the title has a meaning only when it is used to create real positive change. My mission is to raise awareness about physical and mental health, promote inclusion, encourage respectful communication both in real life and in the digital world. Health is one of our greatest values, yet it is so often taken for granted. It is why I am committed to educating people about prevention, mental well-being, and breaking the stigma surrounding health topics. One of my key initiatives is for Women's Health Project, which is developed in a collaboration with Slovenian company Tosama. And through this project, I try to advocate for women's intimate health and work to normalize conversations that are still too often considered taboo. Together, we also promote an innovative dispenser providing free menstrual hygiene products in public areas, of course. Because menstruation should never be a barrier to education, work, or everyday life. I also had the opportunity to present this initiative at the Entrepreneurship Congress. Beyond healthcare, I also actively promote women's empowerment. On International Women's Day, I joined over 1,500 women on a Girls in the Mine running contest, and under the honorary patronage of the President of Slovenia. And this event celebrated courage, resilience, solidarity, and the importance of supporting one another. Through the Miss Slovenia project, I also collaborated with occupational activity centers and public social welfare institutions across Slovenia, where adults with intellectual and mental disabilities are supported in developing independence, work skills, and meaningful participation in society. So one of the projects I am specifically proud of is With You, We Can, building bridges, opening doors to inclusive society. And together with the educators, rehabilitation specialists, and social workers, we explored how cooperation, education, and empathy can create more inclusive communities where every individual is recognized for their abilities. I have also visited a lot of occupational activity centers in Slovenia, where I led interaction workshops on digital safety and online violence. And together, we use discussion and creative activities to learn how to recognize abuse, respond safely, and create a more respectful online environment. And these experiences reminded me that inclusion also means ensuring that everyone has equal opportunities to participate safely in our increasing digital society. And also, all of these experiences have taught me something deeply important. So inclusion is not just support. It is dignity, it is recognition, and belief in every person's potential. As Miss Slovenia, I have also dedicated much of my work to combating cyberbullying and online violence. This mission is also deeply personal to me because I have experienced it myself. And rather than allowing these experiences to discourage me, I choose to transform them into purpose. I have delivered workshops on online safety and respectful digital communication for children, teenagers, scouts group, schools and adults, helping them to recognize online violence, respond appropriately, and become active allies in creating safer digital environment. One particular meaningful experience when I was joining the Scouts camp, where we openly discussed about it and also one of the also important topics about cyberbullying and the projects I'm very proud of is the national campaign Let's End Violence, where I talked on Slovenian national TV, which I'm very proud of and thankful for the opportunity. And for the end, I would like to say that beauty with a purpose reflects everything I stand for, and that my purpose will always remain the same. So it is to educate and to empower, to include, and to inspire positive change. And beauty with purpose is not just one project. It is the way I choose to live every day, because true beauty is not measured by appearance, It is measured by compassion, by courage, and by the positive impact we leave on others' lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Slovenia. Now please welcome Spain.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Morning, ladies. Everyone that's watching at home. My name is Elizabeth Reyners, and I proudly represent Spain. I want to start off with a simple question. Does someone here remember their first day of school? I do. I remember it perfectly. I was so excited to start, to discover, to learn, until I arrived. Then I knew something was wrong with me. Letters seemed to dance in front of my eyes. They were like playing games on me. They couldn't stand still. So I knew something was wrong. I saw all my classmates were having fun, were discovering. Me, on the other hand, I was having a lot of trouble. I was sad. I felt less than the others. So I did something simple. I stayed quiet. In the classroom, I never lift my hand up. I never enjoyed. And when I arrived home, I had to start all over again, because in the class, it was no time left. That is why I felt very insecure when I was younger. And one day, one woman came up to me, and she didn't tell me what was wrong with me. She changed the phrase, and she said, "How can I help you learn?" That day, everything changed. I got diagnosed with dyslexia, a neurobiological condition that affects reading and writing. That day was one of the happiest days in my life. Not because I was diagnosed with dyslexia, obviously, but because I knew I had something and I knew the name. I was happy that I knew what I had. But I was curious to know if I was the only one. Oh, little did I know, 10 to 20% of the world's population have dyslexia. That is 2 out of 10 kids in each classroom. Quite a lot, right? That's what I thought. And I couldn't stand still. I needed to do something, because I didn't want no child ever to have to go through what I had to. So I created my project, The Rhythm of Letters, the Right to Read project, because we all have the right to read. The base of my project is my book, The Rhythm of Letters, that I created and wrote by myself. The first thing I got told when I launched my book was, "Oh, a girl with dyslexia wrote a book? How funny." Yeah, exactly. That's why I created it, because of that quote. Dyslexia doesn't limit your talent, your intelligence, or your worth. Never think that or never doubt yourself. This is why with DISFAM, an organization in Mallorca, a non-profit organization, we try to raise awareness in the world. Media outlets, TV programs, podcast news, I've been everywhere. Just with one purpose, that no child ever feels less valued, loved, or less intelligent just for being different. We stand by 3 pillars. Early detection, because the time a child has in the childhood, it's the most important thing. It's gold for them. The second thing is educational awareness, because every child deserves an education, being intelligent and having the same as the others, equality. And finally, visibility, because we need to raise awareness. And I'm so thankful to have this amazing platform today to explain my situation and to happily make a difference in this world. And I want to end up this speech by showing you something real quick. I had this paper with me. You're probably thinking, oh, she has an advantage because she has a paper. Well, I don't know if from that far away you can see it, but this is what I read when I have letters in front of me. They are all mixed up, they dance, they are flying. This is what dyslexia is like. This is what we have to go through every day. And not to mention, you are born with it, but you also die with it. So let's create a world more empathized, where all the children have the same opportunities, the same love, and the same respect. And let's change the educational system for the better. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Spain. Thank you. Now we invite Sweden to address us.
Hello everyone with us today. I wanted to start with asking you a question. What do you think about when I say the word children? What do we associate it with? I associate it with happiness, fun, school and education, and laughter and lust for life. But this is not the reality for every child. A lot of them are sick and hospitalized because of cancer. Their lust of life and their hope is gone, and the same for their parents. Cancer research has come a long way, but we still don't have a 100% cure. As someone that's worked in healthcare, I see these children and their families. I see their struggles, and I see the battles that they are fighting. One specific story that stuck with me is one of my first patients that I encountered while working in healthcare. It was a child with a very aggressive sort of cancer. She came in, and they came in with their whole family, and they were hopeful at first, but as the day passes, they were really hopeful about the treatment at first, but as the days would go by, they just got worse. They got sicker and sicker, and I could see the light in their eyes fade. I could see the hope from their families fade. And to see the light and sparkle just disappear, it was heartbreaking. It was devastating, not for me, but also for the family. Around 350 children each year in Sweden are affected by childhood cancer. Around 88% of them survive. And that's a large number, but it's not enough. In Sweden, 7 out of 10 children survive. And, in Sweden, 7 out of the 10 children who survive will they will experience complications after the treatment, and these statistics also show that a lot of them doesn't survive these complications. That is why I, Miss Sweden, teamed up with the Swedish Childhood Cancer Foundation for my Beauty with a Purpose project. My Beauty with a Purpose project is called Run of Hope, and it is an initiative that brings communities together through running to raise awareness and funds for childhood cancer. By organizing and participating in charity runs, we inspire people of all ages and all heritages. Everyone's welcome to participate and provide hope to everyone affected by childhood cancer, and to raise funds both for the children affected and for research purposes. We promote the importance of health, compassion, and unity. With Run of Hope, I created opportunities for people to contribute in their own ways. Either they can participate by running, walking, or simply just showing up and cheering everyone on. Everyone gets a chance to participate in just the way they would like. They could also simply just donate money to raise the funds for the children. Each participant represents hope, and each step represents us moving forward in researches about childhood cancer and a larger number of children who survive and a lower number of complications. I believe that the children are our future, but they need us as a society. It all starts with us. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you very much, Sweden. Our next contestant is Ukraine.
Hello world, this is Julia and Miss World team. It's a really great honor to be here on the stage and representing my country. My name is Lisovska Valeria and I'm representing Ukraine. And today, let's start from the background. In 2022, I had to leave my country and I moved to France. And I thought that I will stay there forever, maybe. But I had one moment in my life that has completely changed my mind and everything. And I supposed to come back to my country and to help my country. We will move into it a little later. Living in Ukraine during this challenging time of my country, I understand how it's important to come together through kindness and support those who need it most. And I was inspired by my mother because she also did a charitable initiatives, and from my childhood I was raised to help. And I want to move this moment that has changed my mind completely. My situation in my country has personally touched my life because my father died defending our country in February 2023 in Donetsk. And that's why when I got this news, I decided, why am I supposed to be on the other side and just look if I know that I can help? I know that I won't help. Because I know that I have a power, I have an opportunity to be the voice of my country, and that's why I also decided to do study on international economic relations, because we are our future. The people of my age, this is our future. And this loss became one of the most reasons of coming back to my country to help. And that's why I choose to dedicate myself to charity. And I know what it feels like to experience the pain of losing someone you love. I heard that a lot of girls lose someone. I'm so sorry about this because it's really painful. And I want to support those who are going through the difficult times, especially in my country, and just to remind them that they're not alone, they have help. And that's why through my Beauty with a Purpose project, it's not only one project. I'm trying to support like everyone who needs. It's vulnerable children, internally displaced families, elderly people, and everyone whose lives has been affected by unforeseen situations. In Ukraine, I cooperate with organizations, with dog adoption center, dog shelters, an organization supporting women who have experienced violence and the women facing difficult life circumstances, children's residential care center, humanitarian volunteer organization, shelters for internally displaced people, and animal rescue centers from all of the Ukraine. And I believe that even the small act of kindness can change someone's life, because true beauty begins not with an appearance. True beauty begins with your soul, begins with your heart. And I think that this is most of the important thing of your appearance, because if you have a power inside, it will be, the people will see everything. And for me, beauty with a purpose is not about one single act or one specific cause. It's about being there for people in difficult situations, supporting those who need help, and using my voice, my time, and my heart to make a difference. I believe that true beauty is found in the kindness we give and the lives we are able to touch. And I really hope that my father is so proud of me, and I just have a mind that why am I supposed to give up? I'm not supposed to, because my father didn't. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ukraine. I have one more contestant before our lunch break, so give a warm welcome to Wales.
Good afternoon. My first memory of wanting to serve my country was watching my dad on parade on Remembrance Sunday. Little did I know back then that that would be the catalyst for my campaign to encourage more young girls to enroll in the RAF Air Cadets. I was only 4 or 5, looking up at him and thinking, I want to be a part of that. But I couldn't help but notice that at every military event I went to, it was dominated by men. Male veterans, male servicemen, male cadets. For years, I'd convinced myself that there wasn't a place for me there. Eventually, I found the courage to join the Royal Air Force Air Cadets. I was the only girl, but I was welcomed with open arms. My dad, a retired army soldier, was of course incredibly proud. Although he still jokes, I'm so proud of you, but you're wearing the wrong colour. That's because the British Army wears green and the Royal Air Force wears blue. I've always looked better in blue anyway. Over the 8 years in cadets, I found purpose, confidence, and a sense of belonging. I achieved the rank of sergeant. I learnt life skills that would live with me forever. But this was never just about me. I realised that if I could overcome my fears of being the only girl in a military space, others could too. Inspired by Beauty with a Purpose, I launched a high-profile campaign encouraging more young girls to enrol. I hosted open evenings, I gave talks, and I marketed large-scale events for girls to see that they belong in these spaces too. Today, I'm incredibly proud to say that my squadron has more young girls on these books than their male counterparts. While I have aged out of the RAF Air Cadets, the desire to serve my country has never left me. I applied to be enlisted in the RAF, but as luck would have it, my eyesight was not up to the standard. But when your beauty with a purpose is at the core of who you are, if you can't move through the front door, you look for the side door. And that's exactly what I did. I'm now a nursing student, and this will lead me to be a combat medic in the RAF. They are the people providing life-saving care in some of the most challenging environments imaginable, treating injuries, saving lives, and offering comfort to someone during their worst moment. My promise to myself and my family is to always serve my country. Today, I stand here as Miss Wales, serving my homeland at Miss World. This is not just a chapter in my book. Service is my life story. Thank you so much, Jochen Bauer.
A very bright end to our morning session. And we've heard from the candidates from Europe. I think Latvia is not able to make a presentation today, but we'll see about whether she can make another presentation on the next series, which is in 2 days' time. This afternoon, we will be hearing from the Americas and Caribbean. I've got to say that for the rest of you, today we are having a fast food lunch. And if I give you 3 initials, we should turn off the streaming now, so I can't be accused of advertising, but you may know it. It's more affectionately known as KFC. So if you pass through the doors to the canteen, it's out to the right as you look at the stage. And for those of you that are, let's say, under 6... Welcome back to the head-to-head challenge here at the 75th anniversary Miss World. And this is the final session of round one on day one. Now, there will be another 2 continents who will give their presentations, and that will be happening in 48 hours' time. But for today, we've been hearing the presentations from Europe, who did presented earlier, and at the moment we are coming to the final part of the Americas and Caribbean. And our next contestant is Jamaica.
Xin chào Vietnam, Wagwan Jamaica, and hello world. And a special good afternoon to you, Mrs. What happens to a child when the world decides your limitations before you have had a chance to discover your possibilities? This is what happens to millions of individuals that suffer from intellectual disabilities. Too often, the world sees limitations before they see talent. They see the struggle before they see dreams. And they see disabilities before they see courage. My name is Nevaeh Kaisia Allen, business finance student from St. Catherine, Jamaica. And today, I want us to think internally in ourselves. How much human potential have we lost simply because we stopped believing too soon, or by not believing in each other enough? My Beauty with a Purpose project, A Mindful Future, was born from my belief that a diagnosis should describe a condition, but it should not determine a destiny. For me and my home country of Jamaica, this topic is deeply rooted for us. I have encountered individuals whose potential reminds me that intelligence, talent, and purpose do not always present themselves the way society expects. UNICEF estimates that approximately 785,000 Jamaicans suffer from some sort of disability. Yet only about 48,000 of them are registered with a social program or have government assistance. Of that figure, approximately 35% are children. But behind every statistic is a human being. A child who wants to learn, a teenager who wants to fit in, and parents wondering what will happen to their children if they are no longer here to support them. Through A Mindful Future, I have partnered with the Jamaican Association on Intellectual Disabilities, JADE, an organization whose touching journey began in 1955 with one father searching internationally for support for his daughter suffering from Down syndrome. 70 years later, that single act of love has grown into a national movement in my country. Today, JADE works alongside Jamaica's Ministry of Education through 5 special education schools stemming across our 14 parishes. One of which I have had the honor of volunteering on renovation projects and interacting and spending time one-on-one with students, teaching them how to read, write, and simply learning about their own interests at the Randolph Lopez School of Hope, a school that is celebrating 70 years of championing intellectual disability. I have found that there is a quiet strength in learning from those that are disadvantaged. Their drive and unique attitude towards life is a testimony that encourages me to put my best foot forward. If they can do it, so can we all. I have seen our teachers giving more than our resources allow. I witness caregivers whose love is tireless and selfless. I see families fighting not only for special treatment, but simply for their children to receive the same opportunities that every child deserves. Many caregivers of people with intellectual disabilities are forced to step away from work to provide care for their loved ones, a burden made heavier by poverty and limited access to resources. So when we fail to support one child, it doesn't only give consequences to them. They reach mothers, fathers, families, communities, and ultimately nations. But this is not only Jamaica's story, it is the world's story. It is estimated that there are nearly 240 million children with disabilities worldwide. Yes. Sadly, that is approximately 1 in every 10 children.
Time.
Millions of children are not lacking dreams. They are lacking access, and millions are not incapable of learning. They're simply waiting for education systems prepared to treat. That's why a mindful future is more than Jamaica. The world is where this conversation must go. Whether it's one school choosing inclusion or a government choosing investment, imagine what's possible when the entire world makes a choice.
Time.
I want to say that deciding someone's future by what you believe they cannot do, but by simply giving them the opportunity to show you that they can.
Sorry, we really have run
Thank
out of time. Thank you. Thank you, Jamaica. And so now we come on to Martinique.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Hi everyone, good afternoon. I'm going to tell you a story. It's the story of a young girl. Before she was born, everything was going well in her mother's womb. But during the birth, a medical complication occurred. She was a big baby, almost 5 kilograms, and her head had already come out, but her shoulders were stuck. So the doctors had to dislocate her left shoulder in order to deliver her. Once she was born, there was no sound, no cry. She wasn't breathing at all. Her story could have been ended here, but destiny had decided otherwise. She was born with a brachial plexus injury. Growing up, this little girl did not always believe in herself. She compared herself too much to other children. And when you constantly compare yourself to other people who have not the same body as you, it can be difficult to believe that your dreams are achievable. Until she discovered para-athletics. Little by little, this young girl started to discover that maybe her limits were her strength. She started doing things she never thought were possible. She learned to play the side trombone. She tried a beauty pageant and won. She also left her home to pursue her studies. She earned a master's degree, became a financial auditor, and also a municipal councillor. She also had the honor and opportunity of carrying the Olympic flame. She could have believed that her disability determined what she was capable of doing, but she chose not to. And you know what? This little girl was me. And today, I'm standing in front of you as Miss World Martinique. Thank you. Today, I want to be a source of inspiration for others. I want to give hope. I want every child who feels different, every person who has been told once, you can't, to understand that their dreams are still valid. I want people to see difference differently. Because I believe that dreams are not only for people with a perfect body, a perfect life, or a perfect starting point. Dreams are for everyone. That's why I create opportunities for children and adults to meet, to create, and to exchange around inclusion throughout sometimes sports with and people with and without disability. But I also want to be honest with you, because standing here today can look easy, but it's not always easy. 2 days ago, my lovely roommate asked me a question. She said, I wonder what you do with all that time. You wake up always so early and you are not ready very quickly. So I explained to her that sometimes that might take her 2 minutes for something and me 5 minutes. Sometimes dress up can be very hard for me, very long, to make my hair also, because I can't do this neither. And I loved my afro a lot, my natural afro, but during this adventure, I had to make the hard choice to not wear it, because taking care of my hair requires so much time and so much energy for me. And yet, every morning I get up. I take my time, I get ready, and I show up. And this is why representation matters to me. I believe that sometimes people simply need to see someone who looks like them, someone who has faced challenges similar to theirs, and someone who has achieved what they thought was impossible. Because representations give us something very powerful, the ability to imagine ourselves in places where we couldn't reach. And this is the person I want to be today. I want to be the person that a young girl sees and said, oh, if she can do it, I can do it so. And if one day someone sees me and think my dream is possible, then I will know that my journey has had a purpose. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martinique. Perfect. Thank you. Our next contestant, Mexico.
One of my favorite quotes is, no dream is too big and no dreamer is too small. Hola mundo. Good afternoon, Mrs. Julia, distinguished judges, sisters, and people from around the world. English might not be my first language, but I want to tell you that I speak one of the worldwide understood languages, the love and empathy. I will share a message, my message that I know you will understand. First of all, I want to highlight the reason why I'm standing here. On one of the most important stages, an international stage, as Miss World, that shows the beauty and a purpose. Seeing you all make me feel glad to see the diversity we have around the world. Because in many countries, I can see my African heritage. Because if you know, in my country, this is the first time an Afro-descendant woman with cleft lip and palate condition is representing them. And honestly, I feel really proud of. But let me be honest, my condition sometimes makes me feel different. Because when I see at myself in a mirror, I look something that I don't like. But also, I feel observed, I feel judged, and sometimes I also feel rejected by society. I'm standing here carrying the reason why thousands of children in Mexico and around the world are looking for a source of inspiration that they believe that they are capable to do great things too. And sometimes the people underestimate us. But well, we always show them how capable we are and that we also deserve to be on this stage. Let me tell you the story of a young kid. His name, Jonathan, whom I had the opportunity to accompany during a surgery that changed his life. His family is very, very poor. Jonathan's mother sells traditional candies at traffic lights in Mexico City. He also has 4 siblings, and his father committed suicide, not because he didn't love him, but because of the pressure, the financial and social pressure of raising a child with this condition. They're not alone. Thousands of stories like this where not only have to face the discrimination, but also the stories that we cannot afford the treatment that we need to have this quality of life as a normal people. And unfortunately, many of them are never told because of the rejection as well from parents that reject that the born child with a different looking. And I'm here to share with the world that part of our story that is part of the resilience, overcoming adversity, and showing to the world what is the message and the mission we have in this world. Because without knowing it, life has prepared me to achieve 2 of my biggest dreams since I was a little girl. The first one was to represent my country on international stage. That's what I am studying, international relations and political science. And the second one was to be an ambassador to the people who identify with my story. And incredibly, by being in the Miss World stage, I'm achieving the 2 of them.
Time.
And work every day by someone people will remember. That's one of the goals that I have today. Thank you for listening, because you're not just hearing my story and Jonathan's, you're hearing the story of thousands of people who believe that being different made them invisible. I'm sure we all have scars in this room, behind the screen, all around the world. But that scars make us feel beautiful as well. I'm Miss World Mexico, and this is chosen to share with the world. Come on, Vietnam. Muchas gracias, mi bello México. And thank you very much, Miss World.
Thank you, Mexico. Great, thank you. And our next contestant, as we say goodbye to Mexico, as we say hello, hola to Nicaragua.
A smile is something many of us take for granted, until the day we lose the confidence to share it. Good afternoon, my name is Belén Cáceres, and I'm honored of representing Nicaragua. My Beauty with a Purpose project is called One Smile at a Time. As a dentist, I have learned that a smile is much more than aesthetic. A smile represents health and opportunities. In Nicaragua, oral diseases remain a major public health challenge. Nearly 93% of the population has experienced dental caries. and almost half of all elementary school children. Behind these statistics, there are children living with preventable pain. There are families without access to dental care. And there are persons who are afraid to smile. That is why my Beauty with a Purpose project is dedicated to them. One of the experiences that has shaped me the most was serving alongside craniomaxillofacial surgery teams. Watching children smile after receiving a treatment make me ask myself one simple question. If I have the knowledge to help, why should anyone be left behind? That question became my purpose, and that purpose became one smile at a time. What started as a small act of service in my own dental clinic soon grew into something bigger. Together with dentists, students, volunteers, and community partners, we bring dental health education and rehabilitation to people in underserved communities across all Nicaragua. Our work is built in two fundamental pillars. The first is prevention, because we believe every child deserves to live a life free from preventable pain, and every family deserves to have access to dental care. To date, we have given oral education to more than 500 children, empowering them with the knowledge to take care of their own health in the future. The second pillar is restoration. For those adults who have been already affected by oral disease, we provide free dental treatments like fillings, root canal treatment, and prosthetic rehabilitations. I have seen adults look into a mirror with tears in their eyes because they received a prosthetic they thought they could never afford. And that is why my vision is to create a sustainable network of oral health education and oral rehabilitation that reaches every corner of Nicaragua. Because I believe that every person deserves the opportunity to smile confidently. And as long as there's one child living with preventable pain and one person afraid to smile, my work is not finished. Because sometimes changing a life does not always begin with grand gesture or extraordinary actions. Sometimes it begins with one smile at a time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well done. And now we come to Panama. I think Miss Panama is on Espanol. Oh, it's Paraguay. Are you okay?
Yes, I will do in English.
You're going to do it in English.
Yes.
Thank you. Right.
Xin chào Vietnam. Hola Panama. Good afternoon, distinguished judges, ladies, gentlemen, and all my fellow contestants that are here. I'm Madeline Miller, and I'm proudly to represent Panama. And I'm here because I want to share with all of you my story. 21 students around the world suffer bullying. And not just by kids, also by adults. Behind that child, it's a smile. I grew up feeling unseen, as a child who felt less than her other classmates because she was struggling with the difficult classes. As a child who can cry into her home because she received so many comments about her thin body. I thought that was my identity. A weak girl, slow, incapable, and hard to understand by others. But one day everything changed. When I went to a Christian camp, and I had my counselor who kept telling me the whole week, "Dear Madeline, your worth is not defined of the cruel noises of the world. God already gave you a mission and a purpose." And that day, everything changed. Sometimes the greatest challenge is not the condition itself. is growing up believing that the condition defines you. That realization became the heart of my beauty with a purpose. Today, my purpose is help to create awareness and understanding for children who felt different, misunderstood, or defined by label, while also encouraging families to find education, support, dignity, and hope. Because I know what it feels like to believe that something you struggle with made you feel less worthy. And I also know what can happen when even one person helps you to see yourself differently. Dear child that are struggling with invisible condition, ADHD, autism, or any condition you have that no one else can see, you're not alone. And I'm here to raise my voice for you because I know what it feels. I know that you cannot to stop hearing those voices that says, "Oh, you're too slow, you're incapable, you always miss your stuff, pay attention." No, you're more than that, I promise you. I come from a country as know the bridges of the world, and I know that we can build another bridge. As Panamanian, we can connect to oceans. We can build a bridge of hope, identity, and mission, and empathy for those children who feel misunderstood. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to Panama. Thank you very much. And now our next contestant is Paraguay. And I believe that the information I had is that Miss Paraguay, you are going to do this in Spanish? ¿En español?
Sí, voy a hablar en español.
Okay, and we're going to have a translation done by Danny.
Testing.
Okay, please, carry on.
Buenas tardes, señora Morley, distinguido jurado, a todas las chicas. ¿Qué puede hacer un violín frente al dolor de un niño? No puede borrar el abuso, no puede detener todos los golpes que han recibido y no puede devolverle la infancia que le han arrebatado.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ms. Julia Morley and all distinguished guests.
Danny, can I just pass you? They're going to send this over to you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Ms. Julia Morley and distinguished guests. What can a violin do in front of all the childhood abuse and trauma?
Pero lo que sí puede hacer un violín es que ellos puedan recuperar su voz, su dignidad y su derecho a soñar.
What a violin can do is help restore their... repite, disculpe.
Que el violín les puede dar de vuelta su voz, su dignidad y el derecho a soñar.
It can restore their voice, their dignity, and their ability to achieve a dream.
La música cambió mi vida y hoy la utilizo para cambiar la de ellos.
The music changed my life, and today I use it to change theirs.
Mi nombre es Ayelén Pérez y represento orgullosamente a Paraguay.
My name is Ayelén Pérez, and I proudly represent Paraguay.
Soy violinista profesional, licenciada en educación, tengo una maestría en gestión cultural y política y soy fundadora de la Escuela de Música Ayelén Pérez y he fundado también la Orquesta Infanto Juvenil de Itá.
I am a professional violinist. I am a part of the National Orchestra of Nacional Orquesta de...
Soy integrante de la Orquesta Nacional de Música Popular.
For the National Popular Music in Paraguay.
Y fundadora de la Orquesta Infanto Juvenil.
And a founder for the orchestra for the juveniles, for children
que fue declarado de interés cultural en mi país.
that was declared of cultural interest in her country.
Yo también fui una niña de escasos recursos,
I was also a child of lower resources,
donde yo no tenía una cama o un closet,
where I didn't have a bed or a closet.
pero aún cuando estaba ahí la pobreza, mi familia tenía muy poco, pero me dieron algo muy importante.
But even in that poverty, my family gave me something very important.
Ellos cambiaron mi historia y me entregaron un instrumento en mis manos.
They changed my story and handed me an instrument in my hands.
Aquel violín solamente no me enseñó a tocar música,
The violin didn't just teach me how to play music.
me enseñó a que yo tengo un valor,
It taught me that I have a value,
que mi voz merecía ser escuchada
that my voice deserved to be listened to,
y que la pobreza no podría marcar solamente mi inicio ni determinar mi final.
and that my poverty couldn't just dictate my beginning and it couldn't dictate the end.
Gracias a esa oportunidad, hoy soy educadora y hay algo que yo comprendí.
Thank you to that opportunity. I am now an educator, and there's something in that I learned.
Si la música me había salvado y me ha hecho soñar, mi historia no podía terminar conmigo.
If music saved me and helped me dream, otra vez esa otra parte.
Si la música había salvado mis sueños, mi historia no puede terminar conmigo.
If music saved my dreams, my story couldn't just end there.
Por eso fundé la Orquesta Infanto Juvenil,
And that's why I founded the National Orchestra for Children.
y le puse al servicio de los niños más
And I put it-
necesitados.
And I helped with the underserved children.
Este año hemos recibido a 100 niños
This year we have received 100 children.
y en 8 años hemos recibido en total a 1000 niños.
And in 8 years, we received 1,000 children.
En Paraguay solamente en el 2025 el Ministerio Público ha atendido 21.800 casos de hechos punibles.
In Paraguay, in 2025, we received, ¿cuántos casos? Disculpe.
28.000 casos,
28,000 cases of children
que son aproximadamente 60 niños por día.
that are about 60 children per day.
Pero yo no quiero que retengan esos números,
But
sino
I-
que
But I don't want you to just stick with those numbers.
quiero que imaginen a esos niños.
I want you to imagine those children.
A los 7 años, un niño tiene que sostener un juguete.
At 7 years, a child needs to hold a toy.
No. Lastimosamente se acabó el tiempo, pero por mi historia y por mi propósito y por cada niño que vengo a representar hoy aquí, yo pertenezco al Miss World. Gracias.
Sadly, my time is up. But for every child, every voice that I'm representing, I am proudly here as Miss World, for Miss World.
Thank you very much, Paraguay. We did allow extra time because of the translation, but that was the time. So we now come on to our next candidate, who is Peru.
Good afternoon, honorable judges, girls, and people in the hall. My name is Josian Shoti, and I'm proud to represent Peru. If I could go back in time and meet the little girl I was once, I would probably don't tell her to become someone else. I would tell her that she's enough. Because growing up, I struggled with something that many children struggle to, and it is bullying. It is something that leaves a very deep wound. For a long time, I feel like I didn't fit in. I questioned myself, and I felt like my difference were something that I needed to change. But today, I understand that I was looking to myself with wrong eyes, because the things that make me different were the things that make me unique. And that was something I realized when I entered pageantry. When I first stepped onto a stage, I think that beauty was about being confident, looking perfect, and fitting into a certain image. But pageantry taught me something completely different. It gave me a voice. It taught me that beauty was much greater purpose when you use your platform to make someone else feel seen. And that is when I started asking myself a question. What if I could use everything I was to struggle with to help a child not feel alone? That question became my inspiration for my project, Healing from Within. Healing from Within is a project focused on holistic health of children and adolescents, because I think that health cannot be divided into parts. We cannot talk about physical health without talking about emotional and mental well-being. We cannot talk about prevention without talking about education. And we cannot talk about a child's future without considering the environment in which that children is growing. The statistics show us why this matters. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 7 adolescents between the ages of 10 and 18 experiences a mental health condition. UNICEF reports that 1/3 of mental health conditions emerge before the age of 14, and other half before the age of 18. UNESCO reports that 1 of 3 students experiences bullying every month worldwide. When I hear these numbers, I don't just see statistics. I see the girl I used to be. And I see children that today may be sitting in their classrooms wondering if they are good enough. I see teenagers who may be smiling on the outside, but struggling silently on the inside. And I believe that we have the responsibility to reach them before their pain becomes something they will carry for many years. That is why, through Healing from Within, I want to create spaces where children learn, feel heard, and can talk. I want them to understand that taking care of their health is not only going to the doctor when something is wrong. It is also learning to recognize what we feel. It is knowing when to ask for help, and it's understanding that being different does not make us less valuable. And it is learning that taking care of our minds is just as important as taking care of our bodies. My dream is to become a doctor specialized in plastic and reconstructive surgery. And this is one of the reasons why Healing from Within is so personal to me. Plastic and reconstructive surgery can transform something that is physically visible. But behind every scar, every condition, every patient, there is a person, there is a story, there are emotions. There may be fear, insecurity, hope, and the desire to feel comfortable on their own skin again. I don't want to become a doctor that only treats what is visible. I want to become a doctor that treats and sees the person. And I believe that medicine needs both science and humanity. I believe that a project should not depend entirely on the person who starts it. My vision is to build connections and partnerships that allow the work to continue reaching children and communities even when I'm not physically there. Because real impact is not about how many times my name appears. It is about how many lives continue to be touched when I live. When I think about the little girl who once wished she could go back in time and become someone different, I realize something today. I don't need to change her story, because that story brought me here.
Time.
That is the message I want to carry with me, not only as a beauty queen, not only as a future doctor, but as a young woman who has discovered that the most meaningful crown is the one you use to lift someone else, because healing goes beyond the body. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peru. Thank you. Now we come to Puerto Rico. Our sports champion, no less.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Suil Angelina Pagan, and I'm 21 years old, currently pursuing a degree in fashion marketing and management with a minor in business. And I grew up as an athlete my whole life. I spent countless of days and hours on a track, and every single practice taught me about discipline, about resilience, about humility, how to fully be committed and on time, even when no one else is watching. And I just realized that the greatest lesson wasn't really about winning. It wasn't about the gold medals. It really wasn't about the achievements. It was realizing that I had been running alongside girls who had the same work ethics, same determination, the same dreams as I did. The only difference is that some girls had opportunities, some didn't. And then this question started to arise in my head. How many more champions are we losing because no one ever gave them a chance to begin? And that's how my Beauty with a Purpose started. And I believe that no girl's future should be determined by the opportunities she was born into, but by the potential that she or he carries within. And honestly, I wouldn't want you guys to remember me just for a sash or for a crown. I would like you guys to remember me for a young woman who would like to inspire, and a young woman who also believes that the greatest victory in life is helping someone else discover that they can win too. Because I believe that that is the truest race that can change the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Puerto Rico. We have just 3 presentations left, and the first of those is from Trinidad and Tobago.
Hello, everyone. I am Georgia Lee Gill, Trinidad and Tobago. Now, we all have that day that changes our lives forever. That day that separates our stories into 2. The lives we lived before that day and the lives we live after. For me, it was the day I realized I lost my grandmother. Now, she's still here with me. I still interact with her and talk with her and hold her hand. But the person she was, her identity, her personality, her essence is gone. My grandmother has dementia, more specifically, Alzheimer's disease. And this specific disease causes a unique pain, grief, and loss like no other. My grandmother was smart, creative, and caring. She loved the culture of Trinidad and Tobago, so much so that she helped create carnival costumes for children so that they can play, dance, jump, and skip in the sun on carnival. She also believed in education because after picking me up from school, we would go and she would teach adult literacy classes because she believed that education is a fundamental right that everyone should have access to. Now, the specific day in question where my life changed and the relationship with my grandmother was when I was having a conversation with her about my day, keeping her up to date on things, and she watched me with a blank and confused expression. And she asked a question that will forever remain with me, tore my heart to pieces. She asked, "Who are you?" She forgot who I was, my face, my voice, the little girl she helped raise. And that was the beginning of my caregiver journey, from moving her from her home into ours. The journey of learning how to take care of someone without having no professional education or training in the matter. The sombering moments of meeting her on the floor with bumps and bruises because she fell, not knowing the new environment she was in. The grief, the anxiety and depression my family and I felt, feeling like we weren't taken care of enough. And that is the genesis of my project, the Silver Circle. Through education, advocacy, and intergenerational engagement with youth, I believe that we need to encourage our community and remind them that caregiving is not just the responsibility of one individual person, but it's a responsibility we all share. There are so many times where I think we need to do more as a society because caregiver burnout is real. Social isolation with our elderly is real. Anxiety, depression, and guilt with family members is real. So I ask you today a simple question, not just for the youth, but for everyone. If it was a loved one of yours, a mother, a father, an aunt, an uncle, who has this disease, who is disappearing slowly into the silence, and you knew that your time, your presence, your company can make the world of difference in making that journey a little less lonely, would you show up? Because that's what the Silver Circle is all about. I believe that youth can spend time with their elders, listen to their stories, and engage with them. For me personally, it was helping my grandmother make a WhatsApp video call to an ex-boyfriend to walk down memory lane. It was the funniest thing. But that's how you let them know that they are seen, they are loved, and they are valued. So, this is the Silver Circle Project, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Trinidad and Tobago. We now welcome United States.
Xin Chao. I am Mary Sickler, and I am grateful to be in this breathtaking country to represent the United States of America. I stand in front of you today to help redefine beauty standards. We, the women of the world, have long been told that our importance is linked to our looks. The media puts great significance on our appearance. But what if those looks changed? How would it affect your self-image? I want to broaden society's beauty standards and teach all women how they are beautiful just the way they are. 18 months ago, my life changed dramatically when my hair started to fall out. Within a few months, I lost every strand from my head, eyebrows, and eyelashes. At 21 years old, I was diagnosed with alopecia universalis. My identity was gone. I will never forget standing alone in my room, looking in a mirror, crying, searching for something familiar. I feared how the world would see me, how my friends would respond. Would I still be able to continue my modeling career? And beneath all those fears was one painful question. Who am I now? Today, I stand before you. I am a changed woman. I no longer feel my beauty comes solely from my appearance. I have stopped being influenced by the beauty standards the media feeds us every day. I feel free. As you can see, there are flowers across my bare head. They are not simply decoration. They represent every part of me that had to grow after loss. For so long, I saw my baldness as proof of everything alopecia had taken from me. I stand here today before the world without my wig, fully transparent. My head has become a canvas that shows everyone that the standard of beauty is not found in just one type of woman. It can be found in every woman. My Beauty with a Purpose initiative is called Blooming Again, Shattering Beauty Standards. It exists for everyone, whether you're experiencing alopecia, chemotherapy-related hair loss, illness, scars, or any challenge. You can bloom again. Blooming Again is built on 3 pillars. Pillar number 1, education. I enter schools and communities so children learn that visible differences should never be met with cruelty. I provide families with the knowledge and resources needed so no child has to receive a diagnosis and wonder, what is wrong with me? Did you know that around the world, 2.3 billion people experience some form of hair loss? That is over 25% of the planet's population, which means 1 out of every 4 of you could experience hair loss. That's why I had to speak out, so no woman, no child, and no family has to feel alone again. Pillar number 2, support. I provide families and children with the resources needed with mental health professionals. I've held hands with women undergoing chemotherapy. I've counseled young girls who were terrified to return to school. I've spoken with women who admitted that hair loss changed the way they valued themselves. I see you, and you are not alone. Pillar number 3, empowerment. Recently, I was honored to be the keynote speaker at my country's largest alopecia conference. Just like today, I stood proudly on a stage with flowers across my bare head. As I looked into an audience who understood my experience, I realized I no longer look at my baldness and see only what I have lost. I see all the doors it has opened. What is once represented my pain has now been transformed into my garden. Blooming Again has already helped raise over $1.3 million for alopecia awareness, support, and research. As Miss World, I will expand Blooming Again and continue redefining what beauty means. Because beauty was never meant to be something we fit into. Beauty is something we rise into. So I stand here today not to fit a standard, but to shatter it. And I ask you, my fellow contestants, women spanning every corner of the world, let us prove that beauty does not disappear when hair falls. It does not fade when bodies change. It does not vanish in illness, indifference, or in pain. Beauty lives in truth. Beauty lives in every person who chooses to keep going when the world tells them that they are not enough. We have the opportunity not to just change a perception. We can change lives. And that is the kind of beauty the world will never forget. That is truly beauty with a purpose. Come on.
Thank you, United States. And our final candidate of the day, and that is Venezuela. And I believe on español.
Hola Vietnam, hola señora Julia, hola a todos los presentes. Hoy Dani será mi equipo. ¿Estás listo, Dani?
Sí.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Miss Julia Morley. Hello, team. Today, Danny's going to be part of my team. Are you ready, Danny?
Okay.
And I said yes. I'll do my best.
¿Están todos de acuerdo que el futuro del mundo entero son nuestros niños?
Are you all aware that the future of our entire world is our children?
144 millones. Esa es la cantidad de niños que hoy sufren retraso en su crecimiento.
144 million children. That is the number of children that face some kind of disability, mental disability.
En su crecimiento.
In their development, a disability in their development.
47 millones es la cantidad de niños que padecen de desnutrición aguda.
47 million is the number of children that face malnourishment.
Y lo más alarmante, el 45% de las muertes de niños menores de 5 años de edad están relacionadas con la desnutrición.
And the most alarming number is that 45% of those face some kind of issue debajo de los 5 años.
Desnutrición, debajo de 5 años.
Below the 5 years of age.
No son números, son infancias interrumpidas. Son historias que jamás llegarán a contarse.
They aren't numbers. They are childhoods that are interrupted.
Ante esta situación yo no podía ser solo una espectadora. Es por eso que cuando me preguntan por qué estudio medicina, mi respuesta es clara. Porque entendí que el verdadero idioma del mundo...
My apologies, everyone. I couldn't just be a spectator and watch this. That's why I decided to study medicine and partake and take action.
Es el de las manos que sanan.
It is of the hands that heal.
Puedo tener la sensibilidad para reconocer el dolor y la determinación para convertirlo en salud.
I can have the sensibility to recognize pain.
Y es justamente este sentimiento, en conjunto con una vocación, lo que hizo que naciera Semillas de Vida.
And is this conviction that helped make the seeds of life, semillas de vida.
No es solo un proyecto de caridad, es mi proyecto de vida.
It is not just a charity project, it is the project of my life.
Está ubicado en la terraza 4 de Tiguadare, un sector de vulnerabilidad extrema.
It is located in a specific territory, a sector of, un sector of vulnerability, of extreme vulnerability.
Adyacente al relleno sanitario de Cariruana.
Adjacent to, disculpe de nuevo.
Adyacente al relleno sanitario de Cariruana.
Adjacent to the place that she mentions, relleno de sanitario.
Presenta una inseguridad agravada por un entorno hostil y el colapso de los servicios básicos.
I'll do it.
Presenta una inseguridad agravada por un entorno ambiental hostil y el colapso de los servicios básicos. Presenta una inseguridad agravada
It represents an insecurity related to
por un entorno ambiental hostil
for serious environmental problems
y el colapso de los servicios.
and the collapse of the services.
Su propósito es garantizar la nutrición y el desarrollo cognitivo de los estudiantes.
Its purpose is to make sure that to make available nourishment of those people,
además de la educación de padres y representantes,
and also the education of fathers and representatives of those people,
para que se conviertan en los líderes absolutos de la nutrición de sus hijos.
so that can be the leaders and responsible for nourishing their children.
Lo ideal es que ellos a finales de este año sean los líderes completamente y que estos niños puedan culminar
Ideally is that by the end of this year they become leaders and responsible for the nourishment of their children,
su lapso escolar con éxito.
and also for them to study, to have access to studies and to study successfully.
Se nos acaba de acabar el tiempo, pero quisiera enviarles un mensaje a mis niños de Semillas de Vida que se encuentran en el estado Falcón.
Though time is up, I just would like to wrap it up with a message to the children which are helped by Seeds of Life.
Que sí soy como ellos lo dijeron. Puedo ser sensible con cada historia de ellos porque he llorado con esas historias.
I can be sensitive with their histories because
Puedo ser sensible con las historias de ellos porque he llorado con cada una de esas historias.
I've cried with each one of their histories.
Pero aquí estoy firme, luchando, acompañada con ellos.
I am firm and standing by their side,
Y eso es lo que me hace fuerte porque quiero luchar para combatirlas.
and this is what makes me strong, and I'll keep fighting
Thank you
for
very
them.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry that last one was about 8 minutes, but you can see there were some problems with the translation. Venezuela brings to an end Americas and Caribbean. So today we've heard from the continent of Europe and the Americas and Caribbean that we're halfway through our presentations in the head-to-head challenge. In 48 hours' time, we will be hearing from Asia and Oceania and from Africa. And until, I'm sure there are going to be some very interesting presentations, but until that time, please look forward to joining us next time as Miss World continues with the head-to-head challenge. But for now, it's a very good afternoon.